Hello, everyone, and welcome to Valtorn. I believe this is episode 14. Woo, we getting close.
Yeah.
Stuff's happened. We're totally dead. We told Tyler that we died. I kept it going for a
Yeah.
while, but then Bentham didn't let it keep going.
I said we got better.
But of course, before we get into today's episode, because we all know we have done a little raging hangover, we have some things to talk about. First and foremost, we want to thank our supporter or sponsor today. Thank you, Roll20, for sponsoring today's episode. We super duper appreciate it. If you're ever curious how we do our rolls and our dice and our character sheets, this is how we do it. Roll20. And if you've watched some of our previous games, we've done some maps through them as well. Maybe you'll see some more in the future. We also have some merch. You can check it out over at designbyhumans.com/shop/roll4it, where you can get yourself a mug, a nice cozy sweater, because it keeps getting cold. I don't know what's happening. When's spring happening? Someone make summer happen. It keeps getting cold for some reason. Although, for some folks, it's getting hot. I think Bentham and
Yeah,
Jack
this is
were
enough
saying it's
summer.
really
No more
warm.
summer. I'm good.
For us, it keeps getting cold. We just got like a bunch of rain and coldness.
I'll trade you.
Man. You trade?
No, we'll keep it. I love it. It's great.
I would rather be cold than hot because I can always put more layers on. I cannot
Yep.
take my skin
Yeah.
off. It's
Agreed. Hard agree.
I mean,
and
you can, it's just not healthy.
It's incredibly uncomfortable.
yeah, probably not.
You can only. It's probably very uncomfortable. You can probably only do it once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's too funny. All right, well, with that skinning conversation, we want to thank our supporter today, Mia Zilla. Thank you so much for supporting today's episode. We hope that you have been enjoying the goodness of Valtorn, and of course, we adore all of your fan art. We love it. Thank you so much. And if you would like to become a supporter like Mia Zilla, you can head on to our Patreon and become a legend tier or above, and that gets you access to a private GM session. Kai Bear has been GMing them. I'm curious as to what's been coming out of those. Apparently, we will find out. And of course, there are all kinds of other goodies up on our Patreon, like our after shows that we do after every episode. And we also have our character sheets out. So if you want to go check out our updated character sheets, you can head on over and check those out, as well as we will have some custom items coming up and our guest char sheet. So if you've been curious what Distracted Elf had on their character sheet, which I am actually curious about, you'll be able to take a look at it. Of course, there are other ways to support us, like becoming a Twitch sub right here on Twitch. If you have Amazon Prime and you haven't subbed to someone, you can sub to us for free, kind of. I mean, you know, unless you want to give like Jeff Bezos the money, that's fine too, I suppose. But yeah, if you are a Twitch sub, you get access to our VODs in advance as well as emotes. And if you're a YouTube member, you get access to some of those emotes as well. And whether you're a YouTube member, Twitch subscriber, or Patreon supporter, you get access to, you know, our Discord where you can chat with us. There's definitely been some redacted conversations happening because of last week's episode. So, you know, if you don't want spoilers, you can avoid them. And of course, there's lots of non-monetary ways to support us. We know that not everyone has the means to support us in a monetary way. But you can watch us live here on Twitch, make clips, because you can only do that while we're live. We love the clips. I think someone clipped every single time that Drac hit his head on the headboard. So I kind of want to make like a montage of that if I ever have time someday. And of course, you can watch us on YouTube, subscribe, like, and comment. And also follow us on Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and retweet and comment over there because we have messages out right now. You could go over and retweet them and share them. And it's super duper helpful for us. And with that, I'm going to stop talking and let Kai take over. Please.
I have one important question.
Okay.
Drac, what were you doing that made you hit the headboard so
Nope.
often?
And so the
You don't need
camera
to
comes
know.
down from the sky into a giant puff of smoke that Chuck hears explode off in the distance. The camera flies through, goes onto the back of the train as we now go up and over above the top steel rivets and bolts that hold this train together. We fly forward and we see a pseudo-transformed Azuka standing tall and proud next to an on the ground hurt Kyoko. We're going to
I.
start this, Azuka, with a will save.
Yep. Yep. Okay, so if I'm remembering correctly, let me just check what the DC is. I'm at level 3 anger, so my DC is 18. To beat an 18. Or I will become enraged. Okay. Um
Big thing here, because as I remember, Kyoko is a little low on health.
yeah. Yeah.
Some negative energy flooded into them.
He might murder me, is what they're getting at.
Doesn't help that Kyoko is the healer.
Yeah. So what you see before I roll it, I want to really stretch the tension. You see Azuka standing. I believe I described they're not incredibly tall, but I think since the encounter with Nemesis, they've grown a couple of inches in height and just general broadness and width as well. I think when they took on this enraged form, you can see that the demonic scale, the devilish scales that were on their left arm spread a bit further up and became more pronounced, and you can see hints of it appearing on the rest of his body. They've grown another, I think, 3 or 4 inches this time. The clothes, the articles of clothing on them, I think, are just barely fitting at this point. They kind of stretch around their body because they haven't actually grown any new clothes since their more recent growth spurt. And dark sparks of electricity is sparking off of them from the wounds that were left over, and from their eyes, which look slightly deadened, like there's slightly dimmer lights between the and behind the eyes, as they look over the train at where Moira just had fallen off, and kind of just stares silently, seething. And then I'll roll my will save.
Let's do it.
Oh,
16.
Yikes.
Azuka so normally rolls so well with will saves. I need you to become enraged and attack the nearest person. And unfortunately, Mintala is still on the other train car. If I
yeah.
remember correctly.
Okay.
You got up on top from the ladder, and you stayed there casting spells, lobbing magic from a distance.
Yep.
Yeah. After there's a beat of silence. Well, as silent as you can get when you're on the roof of a speeding train. And the crackling electricity seems to dim down for a moment before sparking back to life, even more fervently and loudly, as their head whips down to look at Kyoko. And they're
Do you say
going to
anything?
strike Kyoko. Did I say anything? Because I think this is different from the other situation. I think this is still Azuka, but just lost control. So I
Yeah.
don't think Azuka says anything. I think Azuka just sees like another enemy I'm going to attack.
More of a bloodlust
Um,
and rage.
Yeah. So just very, very suddenly, very violently whip their chain down at Kyoko, as flames erupt off of it.
When
In the
flames
attack.
erupt and the grunt of a swing hits in, there's also this that hits. It's also a undermined and layered on top of almost multiple people talking at the same time.
Oh,
Go ahead and make your attack roll.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Is this like a full turn? Because I think if it's a full turn, I'd also make this a spell check, or just one action.
It would be going and attacking the nearest thing. I'm not certain you would do something that required
Extravagant.
intelligence or extravagance. I think it's just
Yeah,
a run up and then a weapon attack. You either run up and punch or you do your whip from a distance. It's up to you.
Okay, yeah, okay.
You just crit on me? Oh my god. What?
Oh my god.
32.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he hits with the 32.
So as with a crit with the chains of Felagon, Phlegethon, as the flames ignite and that blue fire erupts down, this electricity also crackles through it, slams down to hit Kyoko on the ground.
So
Oh my god.
So that
I
is
take-
30 points of damage.
yeah, I'm at 0. I think as the chains are coming towards Kyoko and she's like kind of trying to hold her, like she's trying to in fox form like hold herself up, you know, like getting herself back up from, you know, already being beat down. And I think she's like, Asuka, and then she just gets hit with the chain.
I would like someone said it in chat is a good point. Hearing Kyoko say about to speak, can I use a hero point to reroll?
Technically, yes.
It is the start of the
that is-
episode. You
that
have
is-
one. I love that in an
Thank you,
alternate
Ricky.
though. Like we'll see what happens, but I think like
Yeah.
that this was an
Okay, I have a-
alternate
I
like
have an
timeline that
explanation
could have
for that.
happened.
Yeah. Go ahead and
Okay.
reroll.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. A
So-
20.
Is that adding in all the bonuses that you get from being enraged?
Oh, I forgot about the bonuses.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, let me check.
Still not a nat 20 though.
It's not that 20. It'll be a 24 with a bonus.
Okay, 24 does hit me. 20 would not have hit
Okay.
me.
No.
Okay.
24 does.
As
Still a decent
the
amount.
chain
Okay, 18
whips
points of
towards
damage.
Kyoko,
18? I still go down.
Yeah. Tell it.
but as the chains whip towards Kyoko, you have a
Exactly the amount
flash
needed.
of a timeline where the chains just whip right across your throat and you immediately die. There is this moment of Azuka killed me, and then the chain hits and you get knocked to the ground and knocked out.
And I think in this, like, I imagine it'll be up to you, Maggie, if you think you noticed this. But a viewer, the audience would notice, I think, that the motion of the chains is almost identical to the vision of the killing blow. But in the last second, it seems like Azuka pulls back just enough for it to just be a pretty intense blow rather than a lethal one. Before everything goes dark for you.
And
Yeah, I
the
think
connection,
that from Kyoko's perspective, she doesn't see it, but she feels your anger. And as she's saying like your name, and then the chain comes her way.
with that, the spirit link that you have between the two of you ends. And Azuka, you feel more alone in this enraged state as you look up and see Mintala right there, staring at this transformed Azuka who just seemingly killed Kyoko. She drops to 0 hit points. And actually, I need you. You are on a moving train and now unconscious.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
Okay, what do you want me to
Roll
roll?
me a. I don't think this is anything other than luck. Just roll me a flat check. Just a
Alright.
d20. If you're 5 or lower. Okay.
15.
15.
Ooh.
With the 15, you see as Kyoko's body starts to slide off, going to the side, as this roof does have a slight beveling to it. So as the wind is pushing down, and especially as you enter the cave, the pressure shift starts to move her body towards the edge. As Red is running down underneath to get probably a move away. One move action to get there.
Okay. Is it my turn?
It is.
Oh boy. I don't. There's like a medicine roll thing, right? I don't know how it works.
So with the medicine check, you need to be on somebody, doing a medicine check, be trained in it. And if you're not trained, you have to meet a DC 15, I believe, medicine check to do 2d8 healing over the course of 10 minutes.
So it's a 10-minute process.
Yes. It's not a
Okay.
combat heal. You would need a feat like Chuck has to do the battle medic.
Right. Okay, so I can't. Is there stabilizing? Is that a thing?
You can try.
Is that a mechanic or?
I like
does
it.
that work?
I like being able to go up to your friend
Well,
and being
there
like, I
is.
don't know what to do. How can I help? And rolling a medicine check to see if you can help. If you roll up and you beat the base DC for a medicine check, I will say that you do the stabilization. You won't
I mean,
heal.
he has to see if he can do anything too. So part of
Exactly.
the medicine check is
You have
realizing whether
to-
or not.
You have to jump over. You have to see the Dazuka is right there in this enraged state after attacking your ally. There's probably a lot going through your head. And with a glance at Kyoko, then we can make the medicine check to see if you know what you can do.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Mandela seeing this all play out, is like, Azuka, Kyoko, Red, deal with Azuka, and I'm gonna run over, like, I guess, using the boots to like jump the gap.
Okay.
And just try and get to Kyoko and see if there's anything that I could do. And then with whatever actions are remaining after that, Red will try and probably grapple Azuka if he's able to do that much.
Let's see how the rolls go. So roll me a quick acrobatics check to leap across.
Okay. 16. Ooh. A 3
With
on the
that,
dice.
plus your double jump, you're doing okay. That's able to
Alright.
get you across. With a quick look for a medicine check, go ahead and roll me a medicine.
Nat 20.
You're very much able to. I will say, to do this, you're going to leave yourself vulnerable and flat-footed to anything Azuka does if you go to stabilizer.
Okay.
Because you are effectively turning your back.
I'm putting my faith in Red.
Okay. So you do that. You go kneel down to Kyoko. Red gets to the bottom of the train. Still has another action.
So how close is he to Azuka?
So Red is underneath the ladder, like below the train's roof. Probably Azuka's up top, 15 feet in front. So he'd have to go up and 15, which I feel like he would be able to do with an appropriate athletics check.
Yeah, his movement is 25. And he'll just use his remaining action to just be there up in Azuka's business and hopefully maybe distract.
Okay. Roll me an athletics check for Red to climb. Perfect.
30-20.
Grabs, launches himself up
Min, what's going on?
as he lands next to you.
I don't know. Don't let Azuka hurt Kyoko.
Got it.
Runs up. Gets right into Azuka's face.
What's going on, kid?
And decide what he'll say. I drag him panicking.
It's Azuka's turn. And another will save.
Okay. Okay, a 28.
So
Does that
with
make
that,
it?
your rage goes down by 1.
That's good, because that's less damage.
Mhm.
So am I still enraged? Or okay, I'm still enraged. I'm still attacking, but okay, he's going down. Cool. Okay. So again, you see the black sparks that come off his body kind of recede a little bit, but the deadened eyes, the dimmer eyes, still seem to remain as they stare at Red, and there doesn't seem to be any recognition at all when he stares at Red. As they say, "What have you done with my friends?" and it's gonna again slam into Red with their chains.
Go for it.
And see if Red right in melee.
That would be,
Or
yeah.
That
is
was
Red.
the intention
up on
was
you.
for him to just be in melee with you.
Yeah, in that case, yeah, I won't use my chain. I think it'd just be punches then.
Okay.
Which I think would be claws. I think the hands where the scales originally were and now have reappeared, claws kind of have extended from those fingers and they're gonna slash at Red.
Go for it.
28.
All right.
I believe that
It's a hit.
hits.
That's a hit. And 8.
And that is, it'll be 12 damage.
Mm-hmm.
12 points of slashing
Okay.
damage. And they will attack again with
That's
their
right
second
there.
action. Yeah. 10 and miss with their second attack. But in their rage, they're gonna attack again.
Yeah. Full frenzy.
Yeah. 22 for the third attack. Does that hit?
Yes.
Okay, for 10 points of slashing damage.
All right.
So as you reach in to scratch it, Red, you're ripping off these bits of concrete. When you rip in with the claws, it's not actually scratching the rock, but you're able to like hook on to these bits of him and just with brute strength
Tear them
rip him apart. And you guys see Azuka tearing Red apart piece by piece. As Kyoko's eyes
I don't see shit.
start to flutter with this stability, but pseudo consciousness. You're like in and out. So you get glimpses.
Each time Red takes a hit, you see Mentala also being hurt an equal amount.
Mm-hmm. Where the claws would hit and bits ripped away, you start to see claw marks and little bits of blood starts to pool down. Mentala.
I would like Red to try and grapple Azuka.
Cool. Athletics check. Well, attack, then athletics.
Okay, I'll just make a melee attack.
I want to make sure.
Am I
about
supposed
that.
to make a recovery check on my turn?
I think because I stabilized you, you're,
Oh,
I don't
set.
know.
Yeah, because someone else brought it in. You don't have to do any saves or anything like that
Yeah,
against
so
your...
there's no, you're not
So
so I
going to
don't
die.
make the recovery checks,
You're
but I'm
ill.
still at 0 HP. I'm still unconscious. Okay, cool.
17 on the attack.
Unfortunately, Azuka's too fast. If you want to go again, I'm trying to look up I'm trying to look up the rules as written for grapples. I'm fairly certain it's attack, and if it hits, then you can do the grapple. But otherwise, it's an athletics versus athletics or
Yeah.
acrobatics.
There's a fun thing. Grappling is always weird in TTRPGs. I feel like every single one
So-
does it
Everything's
differently.
different.
Grapple is you have to have at least one free hand. Your target cannot be more than one size larger than you. You attempt to grab an opponent with your free hand. Attempt an athletics check against their fortitude DC. You can
Okay.
grapple a creature you already grappled or restrained, even if you don't have a free hand.
So what is Azuka's fortitude DC? It'd be 10 plus your modifier. Muted. You muted.
Still
her.
muted.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I just have to check if my anger check affects anything. I don't believe it does. So yeah, my DC is 22.
All right. So if Red can beat an athletics 22, you can grapple.
Okay, I'm going to try it. 29.
Beautiful. Red, while getting ripped apart, just bear hugs. And is able to just grab on and just, you can see the arms tightening as you almost feel your ribs compact a little bit. As Red just,
You ain't going anywhere, kid.
Okay, and
It's just you just hear growling coming from Azuka, like
I think with Kyoko's stable, and there's not much more I can do about that situation. I mean, is there a way I can prevent her from falling off the train? Because that, I guess, continues to be a risk.
So there we go. So now Kyoko is not falling off the side. Mintala has stabilized.
Is there? Can I say anything?
For sure.
Speaking's free action.
Yeah, for sure you can.
Okay. Well, I will just try like attempting to work out what's going on here, making some assumptions. Is gonna just look up to Azuka, like now grappled by Red, and say, Azuka, you in there? Calm down. It's over. We won. We did it. It's all okay now.
Okay, roll me a diplomacy against Drax will DC.
I like that.
Also,
I'm picking it up. I'm picking up the link. It only took 14 episodes.
Oh,
21.
What's your will?
my will is 22.
Yeah, I was like, it's high. I'm like, his will is high.
Yeah. You yell out, try to get him to calm down, but just the fury and the lack of recognition in the eyes just won't. You saw
I
a
don't have
flicker of
diplomacy
it
trained.
for a
I
moment.
could have done it, and I chose something else.
You see a flicker of it in a moment as Red went to grab. There was almost this hesitation in Azuka to move. You know that there's something fighting in there, but it's a losing battle at this moment. Back to Azuka. Actually, I want to keep Kyoko in this. Go ahead and make a fortitude save. If you roll high enough, we'll give you consciousness with a single point of health.
Okay. 19?
Not high enough.
Okay.
I
was
want to
thinking
know how Min is keeping Kyoko from falling off right now.
I
He's
mean,
strong. Ish.
yeah. What's my? Let me check my strength.
I'm also in like my fox form.
I do have -1 strength.
Yeah.
It is true.
Yeah.
But like that's all right. It's like it's a
Yeah, I mean,
it's a flat
zero
surface.
Zero strength is a average human being, and I think
Yeah.
even a
Yeah.
-1 is still enough to like keep.
Strong for
Yeah.
a fairy.
Yeah.
For a sprite. I
Exactly.
imagine just like grabbing, like I don't know, like the hem of the pants and like trying to just pull them back up onto the middle of the train.
Well, she's in fox
like,
form, so it's just like holding onto like
it's
the
a
fur
okay,
with the
just
tail
like,
and just like,
yeah, just like
okay.
just like grab like a pawn. I'm just like pulling them up the train.
I love the idea that you're using the air step shoes to like push off
Oh,
of
yeah,
the air really quick. Okay. Then with that, back to Azuka, make another will save.
Yeah, foxes are like not as heavy too. So she's
No.
probably more like, 8 pounds versus,
Yeah.
her human form.
But to put it to size comparison, that's like a human trying to hold like a fully grown wolf.
Yes, I agree, because he's a little sprite.
Yeah. 26.
26,
Lower that
so
rage.
it goes down again. Ooh, okay. Good.
Solid.
Where am I at now? Okay, so cool. And I'm grappled right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Leave.
still
Trying to think of
attack
how
while
to
grappled.
get out of it. Something says.
I'm pretty sure it's an opposed athletics to beat the
Yeah.
athletics.
Well, that would be in D&D. I'm assuming this is.
What are
if
you looking for?
beat their fortitude DC. Maybe.
Breaking out of a grapple.
Breaking out of the
grapple.
Because my thought is athletics or acrobatic. If the fortitude save gets you into it, and athletics or acrobatics will get you out of it.
Yeah,
You know?
that makes sense. I'm just trying to decide if I'm even going to try to get out. If I'm just going to attack.
Yeah.
Um,
Because if you have like a spell you can do, if you. I mean, it depends if it's verbal or somatic, but.
so with grappled, if I want to cast a spell, I have to roll a flat DC
Mm-hmm.
5 check before I can even do it. But
Yeah, they have to use an escape action. So
yeah.
escape.
So I'm too enraged to really do any
Yeah.
spells.
So it would be a unarmed attack against the athletics DC of a creature grabbing you.
It's usually,
Okay.
it's typically athletics DC of a creature grappling you by thievery DC of a creature who tied you up, or the DC for a spell effect
Mm-hmm.
listed that says escape. So you attempt an acrobatics or athletics check instead of using your attack modifier if you choose. So it's kind of like a escape attack type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I'll do that then.
Yeah, it is different.
Yeah.
Told you. It's the one thing about
Um,
Pathfinder. Everything is very particular.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense though. Instead of you like athletics versus athletics, it's athletics versus your fortitude. Like some of it makes sense.
100%. Logically, I love it. It makes total
Like,
sense.
it makes sense that you're using your DCs, like your saving
Cool.
stuff, for that as a counter.
So that'll be 28.
So
So it would be your athletics DC. So 10 plus your athletics.
And it is true, escape does suffer from multi-attack
Okay.
penalty.
my
This is
then
an attack.
Red's athletics DC is 21, so you beat it.
Yep. So you break free. Describe
In
how
the
that
case of
happens.
like with my arms pinned down to my side, kind of lean back and headbutt Red's, and use that opening to push myself out of Red's grapple, and then go for a roundhouse kick. I think just across the general face area of Red.
Go for it. Kick rocks.
Okay, 19 doesn't hit.
Nope.
Well, I'm adding 4 to it because in this level of range I get a +4 to the attack.
But it's
roll.
also the escape does count as it does count towards your multiple attack penalty.
Yeah, I've been using that.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, I brought that up earlier.
Yeah, just want to
And
make sure.
then I will attack again, I guess. For my kick misses, and I use that momentum to take another one. Make a bicycle kick, so it'll be a 21 to hit.
AC's 21, so that is a hit, right?
Yes, it does. Meets it, beats
For
it.
13 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
How's Mentala looking?
Now, Matala and Red were pretty lucky because in the initial fight with Morian, neither of them ever took a hit. The focus was on the other two. But at this point, it's starting to look pretty bad.
Okay.
Like they're still going. One good turn from Azuka might be enough. Probably more likely 2 normal turns would do the trick. So I think Mentala panics at this point, and remembers a particular incident all the way back in LA with the manacle thing, the
Correct.
bracer, the
Like they're basically bandages that go up his arm.
yeah, it's like the Azuka's wearing. Do I think that I could like activate those the way that I saw Kate do it that one time?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Azuka has previously told you about it and explained how everything works.
Yeah, he showed us all how to do it.
Yeah,
Right, yeah. It was a while ago.
it was.
So yeah, Mattel's gonna let go of Kyoko. He's gonna jump up with the boots, like sort of. I imagine I'm basically kind of like behind Azuka. Azuka's facing Red, and so it's like I sort of jump up past and then up to like arm level and just like grab them and like attempt to do the sort of the motion that Kate taught us.
Perfect.
As I'm doing so, I'm like, I'm sorry, Azuka, and then like I do it. So like I don't know what this does and whether it like hurts,
Okay.
but it seems like
This is something where it's
Might
kind
have
of a
to.
grab, but also kind of a manipulated magic item. I'm going to say we're going to kind of mix the two here, and you're going to do a Arcana check
okay.
against his AC.
All right. 17.
No.
Doesn't do it.
I think I'm gonna hero point it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
14.
Oh.
Bucks.
Oh, even worse.
You have such a
That's
good
technically a
arcana
crit
too.
fail.
I
That's
got a
technically
plus 10
crit
on those.
fail,
I rolled a
think.
7 and a 4.
No, you're good. It's not a crit fail. Okay.
Does anybody else want to use their hero point?
Oh, not again.
Oh man. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. This only ends in disappointment.
Oh,
Just keeps getting
God. It's getting
Stop
lower.
giving me hero
17,
points. Nobody give me
14,
hero
13.
points. It's not
The
worth
dice
it.
has spoken.
God.
The dice have
The
spoken.
dice are like, no.
Oh,
Azuka must
no.
rage on.
Never give me hero
Let
points.
the anger flow through you.
How much of my
God.
turn was this?
No, Azuka. Must stay angry.
That would be run up in Arcana. So you could do it again, but it does have, we'll give it the multiple attack penalty of a -4.
Oh, okay. So then I've got a what's Azuka's AC?
22.
Oh god,
So
yeah. I've
you
got
get a +6 then, which means you'd have to roll a 16 or higher.
Yeah, I mean it's possible.
It's possible.
Red gets an action too.
If you, I'll say
As
this:
well.
if you use red to grapple, you will get a +4 from
Okay.
Azuka being restrained.
We'll do that then. We'll
Cool.
do an act together. Red will grapple, or try to. And then I will try to activate it again.
You got this. So athletics versus the fortitude DC.
30.
There we go.
Succeeds.
And now you're scrambling as Red gets Azuka back into the grab to go for the arcane wraps. Try and pull that activation one more time.
Okay. So what have I got to beat this time then, all told?
You would have to roll a 22, I believe.
Okay.
Oh,
A nat 1 with 11. Oh no.
So this is a nat 1.
It just keeps getting
So-
worse. 17, 14, 13, 11.
When you mess up using a magic item, sometimes things go really bad. So I'm gonna have you roll me a flat check. 10 or lower, nothing happens. 10 or higher, Azuka goes up a rage level.
Wait, what's 10 then? Is it 10? Because you said...
Flat check. Just rolling a d20.
is that 10 on the
But
dot,
is
or
it-
is it 10 on the dot then?
We'll do if it's a 10, you roll again.
Okay.
10 roll again. Oh no.
Interesting.
17.
Okay. You're good.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay, high is good. Okay.
I
Yeah,
thought high
that's
was
good.
bad. Okay.
Yeah,
Did I say that
you
wrong?
said high was bad.
You said,
Okay.
Yeah, you
the
said
other
high
half
I
was
was
meant
bad.
it. I always
And I
like
was
to do
thinking
low
like,
is
oh
bad,
good,
high
I need
is
to
good.
roll low. I can do rolling low.
I always say low is bad, high is good. It was supposed to be the
Okay.
lower numbers are.
Okay,
you
because
know,
that's
bad
not what you
things.
said. That's why we were all like,
I'm
oh,
worried.
no.
Okay. Okay. Hi, I misspeak all the time, and I talk for a living.
You're talking, Tyler. We don't hear you unless you're just raging.
I was just simply saying, if you already said it, I mean, it's hard to go back on it after the roll.
Tyler.
I'm being
No,
honest.
he has a point. He has a point. I
I'm
did
So at
say
the end of the
what I
day,
said.
it's still the same. It's still the same probability. I guess.
I just wish
It
I'd
is
rolled
the
a
same
17 for
probability.
any of the last 5 rolls I
I-
did.
I mean, it's not really, technically it's not really the same probability because
It's it depends on how you put in the statistics. If it's one individual roll in a vacuum, it's one thing. But if it's a string of rolls, you know,
No, because you said it's not the same probability because one of the numbers doesn't do either. 10 doesn't do either of them.
See,
So
now,
one of them will have a higher probability than the other.
yeah.
true.
And part of me just wants to put it to chat now to see what they think. If you
Yeah,
should
technically,
honor what was
technically,
said.
with what you said, it going bad has a higher probability than it going good.
True.
you've
Yeah.
And it
got
wasn't that
11
one, so that makes sense.
That's true as well, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, this is just me, Jack, speaking as someone who's
But that's
rolling
why
really
everyone's
well
reaction
in
was
the worst
horrified
position.
because we all thought
Yeah.
bad stuff was going to happen.
See, in my mind, I'm like 1 through 10. Yeah, that's fine. Then 11 through 20. That's fine. And then they were like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "I think it's the probability of being fine." Like, okay. Let's just wipe the slate clean. Nothing happens. But when you go to manipulate it, this arcane energy shoots up and around as you mishandle this magic item. Seemingly, you're like, okay, maybe I didn't pay attention enough. Like something isn't working right.
Imagine for a second I'm just like hanging on Azuka's arm, just like, press the runes! And it's not working.
Yep. You're like trying to put in the combination to a door or something, but you're putting the buttons in wrong. And you're like, he just hit these things. Okay.
Kane made it look really easy.
Right. Kyoko, go ahead
my
and make
turn.
another fortitude save. If you beat a 25 this time, you'll have 1 hit point. Nat
Nat
20.
20.
30, baby.
You're up.
All right.
I'm going to say because of that, because it was a nat 20, you even have a full turn.
Oh, man. Okay. I think Kyoko kind of is like laying there, like sliding back and forth on the train lightly, and then opens like one eye, and you just see, like, you know how like fox eyes when they open, it's like that, and then they kind of like dilate a little, and then she immediately puts her paws on and like grips onto the train as tightly as she can with 1 HP, and kind of like starts moving up, and while she's healing herself, she's going to try to say something to Azuka to calm him. Or I think I might have a calming thing. I'll have to see. Let's do healing first. And I think, which version do I want to do? Although honestly,
You do the 2 action to increase it. Or the 3 action to just pulse it out to everybody.
I'll just two to heal myself. So is it 2d8?
I mean, it's
2d8 plus
1d8
8.
plus 8.
2d8
Or-
plus 8, yeah. Ugh, I rolled a 2 and a 1 on my heal.
Oh.
Why?
It's still
rolls.
11. It's still
It's
11.
still-
I
something.
know, but it's so bad. Okay. Heal myself. And then with my last action, I think she's just gonna try to convince Azuka to calm down.
Okay.
And I
Diplomacy
don't-
versus will DC.
Have anything that can do that for them. I thought I did have something. But I'm looking and I don't think. I thought I had a spell of some sort. All right, then. You said diplomacy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll roll first before I say what I'm going to say, because, depending on how the roll goes, I don't want to make an epic speech and then it'd be like, natty 1. 24.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
She kind of grips onto the ground, and you just see like this wave of like blue kind of like warmth go over Kyoko's body, and she still has kind of like the tips of her ears and her tail, and like her fur is a little bit more darker than normal, less orangey, more almost purpley black. And she just kind of looks up to him and says, Azuka, you know this isn't you. Something else got a hold of you. Something deep inside you. Think about the tree that we were sitting next to when we were meditating. You, me, Mentala. Remember that? How calm it was. The quietness of the birds. The water slowly trickling by. Just focus. You can do it. And she slowly kind of like tries to stand up, but doesn't get there. She like limps back down.
Okay. Since it went through, instead of giving you a bonus on your next roll, I'm going to say you have another free will save right now.
Oh,
20.
yes.
Oh my god, this dice is telling
The
a
dice
goddamn
is telling
story.
us great story.
Ah.
Freaking
Love it.
epic. Oh my god.
So with that, you go down 2.
And I was only at 1 anyway,
Perfect.
so I dropped down to 0. And I think I think it's as Kyoko is speaking, you can see Azuka still struggling in the grapple of Red. It seems like they're leaning back to give Red another headbutt in an attempt to escape. And then the eyes kind of like dart, almost like a predator noticing their prey, over Red's shoulder to see Kyoko back on their feet. And they kind of freeze as Kyoko mentions, remember the tree, meditating there, the tranquility of it, the birds, the trickling water. And there's a moment where it seems like Azuka's about to give the blow of the headbutt, but one of his hands suddenly shoots up and like pushes against Red, almost as if to not to push Red away, but to stop himself from getting any closer with that headbutt. As you see Azuka quite literally fighting with their body for a moment. And then I think the headbutt does land, but what you end up seeing is the hands that were just struggling against whatever the rest of Azuka's body was trying to do, grab Red and headbutt Red, but in like the still beam of that sticking out of Red, and it immediately passes out as you see that Azuka knock themselves out in an attempt to stop this rage.
Perfect.
And they just crumple
Awesome.
in Red's arms.
Fantastic. And as you bong and just eyes go loopy and you pass out, you guys hear a and a light from the headbeams of Betsy as Chuck pulls up behind the train. This is where the fight ends. This we're out of initiative and we can go back into just normal aftermath.
Thanks, Kyoko. I think like Red sort of switches from like grappling to like carrying Azuka as they slump.
So we're going to say, Tyler, as somebody who purposefully did not listen or watch last week's episode, what Chuck would have heard off in the distance by yourself, either driving or just out by your car, off in the distance, you hear this loud as a large concussive wave echoes through the land that you are in. Fearing for your friends, you immediately start driving towards the train. You see the cloud of smoke, and as you're driving up, you see your friends fighting each other on top of the train. And as you drive up, you see the last headbutt of Azuka against Red as the transformation fades. There you guys are. And right as you pull up, you out the other side of the cave, and you're now back into open plains on the last leg to New York. Leave you guys with the floor.
Let's get Azuka inside.
Got it.
Azuka, thrown over the shoulder of Red as he goes down the ladder and is carried inside. So now it's just Tala and Kyoko.
Kyoko will
You
like
all right?
slowly try to get up. I'll be all right.
I thought I
You
was in
heard.
serious trouble
Here.
there for a second.
Well,
You go for it.
we held out.
You hear a honk from Betsy. Just.
Kyoko will try to look that way, but and you see her ear twitch, but she's slow.
He's just kind of gesturing to the back of the car. Aren't Chuck's arms reaching out like, anybody gonna open the door?
We gotta let Chuck back on board. Hold on.
Kyoko will try to make her way back into the train slowly.
So you guys hobble your way to the storage car. Get to the door. Slide it open. Hearing the cha-chung, 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 cha-chung of the wheels outside. Chuck pulls up next to it. And I was so questioning this. How does Chuck get back into the train?
You see, while he was away, he inserted jumping shocks into. I'm kidding. Well, he still has the grapple, and the winch that comes with the grappling hook. So he would use that to shoot it inside the car, securing it, and wave the car and find a kind of like a bump or a ramp that'll launch Betsy into the air. Run the winch as hard as possible after accelerating to get enough speed to try and get into the car and try and land inside.
Okay. We need to talk about the positioning of this grappling hook because I thought it was just like underneath the front pointed forward. Is this like
It's
on
in
a
the
mounted
grill.
thing? Yeah, still. Is this able to like turn and direct up and down or is this like a straightforward type of thing? Because if you have to
You
like,
can
get it
shoot
at an
it
angle,
so it's straightforward and move the car.
that's what I'm saying. Okay, so you want to bump up, get an angle, launch it towards, re-get your positioning, launch up, activate the winch, and pull yourself in.
So you line up and you secure the grappling hook first.
Again, you are moving at speed in a car with four wheels that doesn't really do good at diagonals movements. So you're going to have to get an angle, shoot it in, recorrect, launch up, and pull in is what you're going for.
Sure, yeah.
Cool. What check do I do for this?
I mean, one of them's probably shooting.
Let's go with a shooting attack roll and then an acrobatics.
All right.
Solid 31.
And then it's athletics to turn the thing up, to pull in.
Perfect.
The winch.
And then it's acrobatics and then athletics.
We're going to do Betsy's athletics for this one.
Betsy's? Oh,
Yep.
God.
Wait, did we even give Betsy stats?
No, we have nothing on Betsy.
We'll do +5 to the athletics. We'll say that you guys are equal level, so it's a +10. Yeah, 29. Expertly done. You guys see... You muted Tyler, somehow.
Betsy's strong.
Betsy is strong. So, as you launch yourself up, fire in, the car goes airborne, you activate the winch, Pansy, Betsy pulls in, lands into the storage car. You do smack a crate, just enough to dent the box, not to damage the inside, because you rolled very well. And you're back onto the train. And there is a little bit of amazement from Kyoko and Mintala of just that. All right, that was pretty cool.
What the hell is going on? Why are you guys on the roof of the train? What was the explosion? Why is Azuka unconscious?
I think it's all okay now, more or less. There was someone tried to blow up the train, but we stopped them. Kyoko saw the future, and we were able to prevent the future. But Azuka lost it a little bit, and it took a lot of effort to calm them down. It nearly didn't work.
Everything's all
leave.
right now.
I leave for one day.
Well, now you know how I feel.
He's gonna see that Kyoko's all messed up and use his medicine, battle medicine.
Okay, go ahead and make a medicine check. Which DC are you going for? Basic?
15.
Cool. You heal 2d8 over the next 10 minutes. Or battle medicine.
Battle medicine instantly.
So battle medicine can only be used once per day.
Yeah, I'm aware. This
can also
day's
just
almost
do it-
over.
This day is like midday.
That's fine. We're on a
Okay.
train.
He's like, I got more coming your way.
I can only use it once per day per person.
Me?
So I can't use it again on Kyoko. I can use it on other people.
Gotcha.
So what do I roll for the healing?
2d8.
2d8. $13. All right.
Rolling better than me.
As you do battle medicine on a fox. Chuck doing a little bit of veterinary work right now.
Hey, if you know how to stitch, you can stitch anything.
It's very true. Guys have this moment of silent contemplation over the events of the last day. Sutures happening. The cha-ching of the wheels in the background, hanging out in the storage car.
Are we back? We're not back in our room yet, right?
You can very easily be.
Yeah, I think that's where Kyoko will kind of get everybody to, and
Yeah, I think Red will have basically put Azuka in bed in their bed.
So as you guys
Kyoko will
are...
kind of like curl up at like his feet, I think.
Perfect. As you guys are walking up to the car, you hear over the intercom, just now getting to the last leg of this trip to New York. Be ready within the next hour and a half to depart as we reach our station.
I do have a question though.
Mm-hmm.
As things are calming down and we're walking back to the room, do I have all my tails?
Yes,
This is
yes, you do.
me being curious. I do. Okay. All right.
Well, let me
I didn't know
let
if
me
you
do a
were
little-
gonna troll me or
let
not.
me-
You made a comment in
sec.
the after show, and I was like, "What?"
All right. Little message to you.
Oh boy.
You're fine. You have all your tails.
All right.
Guys, get to your room. You curl up. Have this moment.
So I feel like I would notice when I was curling up that some of my tails were not there.
Oh, yeah.
That's why.
But it's actually when you start looking at your tails that a massive explosion happens. The world goes white. Azuka hits their head and we start to do day again. No, I'm kidding. That is done.
I'm up. I'm up.
Tyler's like, what?
Betsy had a bomb in her?
Who knows?
That was their backup plan.
You want to go looking for one? If you roll low enough, it just might be there. So, last little bit of time on the train. Anything you guys would like to do other than sleep it off?
Sleep for Kyoko.
Okay. You guys get an hour nap in.
Actually, don't. I think like 10 minutes in, because I feel like movies don't getting knocked out right. If you're knocked out for more than like maybe a couple of minutes, you probably should go to the doctor.
Go to a hospital.
because that's
Yes.
very serious. So I think like maybe like 5 minutes into like the nap, Azuka almost like jolts up in bed, breathing heavily and like frantically reaching for something, but I don't think even he knows what he's reaching for. As they
I
look
feel like
around.
Chuck would be watching you.
You wake up as if from a nightmare. The memories of what happened blurry. As you try to remember harder, they slip out of your grasp.
You are need to put a bullet in you.
I'll sit up in bed. Okay. Um, yeah, no, I figured as much.
Kyoko,
Is
seeing
everyone okay?
Azuka jostle, will wake up and kind of move. Can I sense what emotions he's feeling or they're feeling?
Initially it was panic. Very much like I think it was like the feeling of when you're asleep and you suddenly wake up because you fell through the sky in your dream, so you like suddenly jolt up because you're about to hit the ground. I think that kind
Mine
of
is
panic.
I jump off a cliff
Yeah.
because there's a giant snowball chasing me. It's a recurring
Wait,
dream I have.
wait,
Is
that
this
was
a
very specific.
reoccurring dream?
Yeah, it's a recurring dream. I've had
Did
since
you
I was a
play-
kid.
You know
Like whenever
what?
I'm stressed out, I get that dream.
Did you
That
play
is
Crash
very fair.
Bandicoot too young? There was a
I
level of
did
being
play
chased
that when
by
I was a kid. I wonder. I don't
Ah.
know.
Man, the Crash Bandicoot 2 trauma pipeline I didn't know existed.
Right?
Right. These synchronicities are getting out of hand because I literally just looked in my Steam library at Crash Bandicoot and I was like, when did I get this game? Literally right before this. I'm not
That's
even kidding.
hilarious.
I love it. I haven't thought about
but yeah.
Crash Bandicoot in years.
Yeah, you feel the initial panic, like just wreck their body. I think it's very intense. And then after hearing what Chuck says, guilt and I don't know if it counts as an emotion, but like, oh, of course it did. Like, of course that had to happen. Why wouldn't something go wrong? Kind of
Little frustration and
vibe.
anxiety.
Like reluctancy
Yeah.
in it. I see.
Yeah.
I think then that means Kyoko like awakens with like like just like this sense of just urgency, and then she feels that guilt, and so you kind of just see her just sitting there beside you.
We're okay. Everyone's okay. Are you okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it just I headbutted Red.
Yeah.
As Red like picks up a piece of the steel that you had ripped off and like reattaches it to himself.
I'm sorry. I when that person attacked you, Kyoko, I think I just lost control.
Kyoko will open their mouth.
Or not.
It's all right. I'm fine.
I'll turn to Chuck. That bullet you used in Chicago, I fairly sure I recognize that kind of magic.
Oh, you mean it's Cade's? Yeah.
Do you have any more on you?
No.
He looks defeated when you say that.
I know the weight of my use. I knew what it was intended for. But like I said before I ever shot that bullet, I've grown fond of you, kid.
I've grown fond of all of you as well, but if that happens again, um, don't hold back.
Maybe there's
Please.
something else we can do.
I don't know. The only real precaution we had are my hand wraps, and I can only assume they didn't work. So if that ever happens again and they don't work, please just do what you have to do.
Kyoko will like put her paw on your leg because you're like sitting up, if you don't mind. And then she says, "We'll do what we gotta do, but I think some of those things are gonna be last resorts. We got your back. Just a few words, that's all it took."
A couple of nights ago, I was talking to Chuck. It was after the Nemesis situation, I believe. The Duke, he's able to manipulate things outside of my body without using my body.
How often has he done that?
Just once, and I'll turn to Chuck. He, I believe, just touched the side of Chuck's head, and I saw the spark, and Chuck felt the pressure. And even the Duke seemed surprised that that had happened. But I'm not entirely sure how it's happening or why. But, and again, I think Kyoko feels a wave of course that would happen. Of course it'd go even more wrong. And just go, so there's no telling what I can do when I'm in that state.
Well, in my sense of the world, if something can touch me, pretty sure I can do something back.
Yes. I'm just worried that it would make contact with you before you're able to do anything back.
Well, let's hope we get this emerald thing and hopefully Kate can find something to help you out.
Yeah.
There's one thing I've learned from men. There's more than one path you can take.
Let me tell you, there are many paths you can take. After today, this could have gone many, many different ways.
So, have we fixed it?
I think so. The weirdest part is why? Why do we get so many chances?
What are you talking about, so many chances?
Well, let me tell you, I've lived through this day many times. The most concerning one is Well, Azuka, something happened to you. I think you were dead, but something inside you lived on. It wasn't you, though.
Wait, so I don't know if I properly understand. I died.
In one of the versions of today, yeah, you did. Well, I think all of us died in a couple of them.
When Kyoko says that, almost as if you blink and they are there, the Duke is leaning up against the bed on the other side, listening in with a curious look on their face.
Interesting.
You notice Zuka look in the direction of what the wall you said, Kai?
Leaning
Where
up
there's
against the
definitely
other
nothing.
bedpost.
Definitely shouldn't be anything that interesting, but he makes eye contact, furrows his brow before looking back to Kyoko.
That was for me making a decision.
Do we all notice it, or should we make perception checks?
I chose to
don't-
do it for myself to see if I noticed him looking.
How obvious is the look from Zuka? I'm assuming it's just something casual, or
Yeah, it's a casual. Like I'm not making a big like show of it, but I'm not hiding eyes. I think just like a casual look, and then back to Kyoko.
okay. If you would like to, go for it. But with something like that, you'd have to roll high to see a motive of, after somebody being told something rather interesting, them looking off into the distance and then looking back.
Yeah.
The recognition that looking at something would be pretty high. I'm going to say DC 25.
Nope.
Nope. We 13, 23, 21.
Fortunately not.
So I died, but something lived on in me. Was it undead?
Imagine so. I'd just say be careful whatever the Duke's got planned with you. I know you've made a deal, or maybe more.
Yeah.
He seemed pretty happy.
I just press my fingers against my temple, and I think I'm fighting a migraine from headbutting a steel plate, and all of this new news definitely doesn't help. That how clear is it that I struck Kyoko? Because I think memory-wise, I'm still kind of fuzzy on that, but from how Kyoko looks now, did it seem singed, basically? Because I think I'm the only one that actually used really like fire.
I mean, I was hit
During
with a
our fight.
chain, right? So I don't know if it's like
Yeah.
a chain indenting in
So
my
it was a
fur.
The chain erupted in flames.
Flaming chain.
I am
So
covered in fur. So
I think that with the ebb and flow of the curse of time that is on Kyoko right now, there are some segments where there is this singe, whether or not it makes like an impact or like this image of what a chain would be. Maybe not. It might just look like shorter fur.
so maybe like a deeper perception check, like really looking.
Or something might show if you turn to human form before you're fully healed.
Gotcha.
I mean, the other thing is a smell kind of lingers with burnt fur.
Yeah.
But
I'll
after
roll
time has
for it.
passed,
Roll
yeah.
perception.
I've been playing it where when she's cursed, she doesn't like to expend the energy to form into her human form as much.
Yeah. notice. 26.
That's
Be enough
pretty
to
You
notice.
look at Kyoko as they're comforting you in this time. And there's a moment of that time fracture where some of her fur goes a little gray, some of it shifts back. There's the singe, perfect outline. You see all of the shorter hair weaving together as a chain would with the, the burnt little clumps of singed hair that happens. Gone. And yeah, that was me.
There's a slight wince, and then I think I just gently pull away from Kyoko's comforting paw.
At least we know they can take a hit.
And again, and I think this is probably more obvious, my eyes kind of snap back in that direction of the Duke, and my jaw kind of clenches as I try to keep back, I think, a spike of anger that definitely kind of comes up from that retort.
He walks forward, puts his hands behind his back, and leans forward closer to Kyoko's side where you saw the singe was, just then turns their head to you.
Tougher than I thought, this one. I'm impressed.
I'm imagining Chuck noticed this time.
25.
Still 25? He said it was more
25.
obvious. It's your call.
How obvious?
I think it was head darts in that direction and a jaw
Head darting,
tense.
emotion change, jaw tense. Okay, yeah, we'll go with a 20.
Cool. This is a random chance at shooting in the direction he's looking without hitting anybody else.
You fire directly in the direction. The bullet passes through Duke, hits the other wall, and embeds itself in the wall. As he turns around and goes,
Did he just shoot at me?
I will turn to Chuck and just go, it passed right through.
What just said? Oh,
he stands up, goes over to Chuck, puts like a little flicked finger up to the brim of his hat,
Naughty, naughty.
flicks it, and your hat goes.
I'm getting good at that.
I'll find a way.
And
Go right ahead.
I try to pull the Duke out of this space?
Go for it. Give me a will save.
Like trying to push him back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Come on.
I get so
Get a little
anxious when
prayer
I
in.
roll a will. Okay.
Center yourself.
17.
You try, and there is this moment of you see his essence like flicker off like mist and try to be dragged towards you.
If you want me to leave, that's all you have to do is ask. Come on.
And he dissipates. You blink. Gone.
Chuck will walk over and take the bullet from embedded in the wall and try and get it out of there.
Make me a strength check.
19. I rolled an 18. I have a +1 in strength.
You can't do it with your hands because you go to grab it with your hands and you realize that it's really hot. So you actually no, you could. You just walk up, grab it, pop it off, and as that really warm metal touches that section of your fingers, you see the skin underneath starts to glow with that red hot iron heat as the veins around it kind of spread out. And as it cools, so does that effect on your finger.
Hopefully it'll reform back nicely. And I'll just wait till it cools and stick it in his pocket.
Sounds good.
No, he's gone now.
This will be the last reminder. We have 10 minutes until we arrive. As you guys look out the window, you start to see the buildings start to form up off in the distance. And then the whoosh as you guys go into the town.
So your friend can see and hear and flick hats, but we can't hurt him.
So far.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really hope Kate's got a plan.
I just hope this works.
I don't know who else I've told. I know I've told you, Kyoko, and I think you, Chuck. But Mintala, you probably. I'll be honest. So much has happened. I don't know who I've told or what I've told. But during the fight with Nemesis, and a bit after that, the Duke and I came to an agreement and made a deal to not hurt each other and live symbiotically until we can find a way to separate. So I don't know how much I can do specifically to help if he does lose control while we're still bonded, because I'm, for lack of a better term, I've signed a contract. I can do what I can to hold him back, but actually hurting, I don't think that's something I can do or should risk doing.
Fair enough. You do what's
Well-
best for you.
That agreement doesn't extend to me, so if he decides to show up in your body or walking around invisible and causing trouble, I'll hurt him.
To be honest, I was hoping you'd say that. I just wanted to make it known, and I guess all of you have you all aware before it happens, and hopefully it doesn't, but if a day comes where I'm in a position where I could fight him, the most I can do maybe is hold him back.
You do what you gotta do. We understand.
Yep, and my terms are that it's Azuka's body, and Azuka should be in control of it, and if he decides that's a problem, then he's a problem. And I give a big, slightly scary smile.
It's definitely like a like relief, and then a little bit of like kind of came naturally to you to say that. Kind of a little bit worrying. Like,
You look
there was
over
no
to see
hesitation
Red.
there. Okay.
Yeah.
And as that happens, like he hits and like a bit of like the thumb comes off, picks it up, puts it back on.
Yeah.
So, with that, the open windows in here, you start to smell the water as you guys approach the river. As you guys are next to Weehawken, there's a little, as you look outside, you see a smaller train station right before the Hudson River. So, as you pull up, you start to hear the wheels slow down, and eventually grind to a stop. As you hear commotion, as people are now getting their luggage and moving outside.
As we were getting closer, Kyoko would have transformed back because people seem to be more comfortable when she's not a little fox.
Totally fair. When you do turn back, though, there's definitely a singe mark of a chain visible across your chest. Still lightly because you were healed. But
There's a
little
first
reminder.
aid kit in Betsy if you need it, Kyoko.
Kyoko will nod, and she just deals. I think that even when she's transformed, she kind of looks a little older than normal, and her ears and tails kind of have like a little bit more of a darker tint to them.
everybody make me a perception check.
I got 19.
25.
Okay. I mean, Talon would be the only one. Not
Oh,
Kyoko,
Kyoko got a
actually.
32.
32.
Actually, so Mentala would notice that there was a flicker for a moment of a different person there. Different as in, it's still Kyoko, but drastically different clothing, different everything, and then it's back. And with the 32, you don't really have anything to see yourself, but you do notice for a moment there's a shadow of you cast on the wall. And there is a fraction of a second where you do only have 5 tails. As your armor looked different, your bag looked different, your weapons looked different. Then right back, just for a fraction of a second.
Kyoko kind of reflects on that internally, but doesn't say anything to anyone else.
Having seen something, I think Mentala will come up close and be like, "You okay? You still bouncing around the timelines a little bit?"
That's my existence, darling.
Okay. Just, I don't know, I guess tell me if it gets worse. I don't think I can do anything, but at least I know.
Well, it's gotten worse. Let me tell you that.
Oh,
As
Today was the weirdest day.
this is happening, you're saying these things, you hear a little thud on the floor as a little doll walks out from under the bed. She goes, "Oh, now this train ride was absolutely crazy." And she just walks out of the room as a little poppet friend of yours just leaves. "Bye, honey," as she walks outside.
Man, I didn't know you were having a sleepover.
I didn't know she was here.
The entire
Is it
time.
literally like in our room?
Yeah.
I feel like she probably heard several secret things that no one should hear. Oh no.
Well, then I suppose we should be more careful.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for dolls for Min.
Oh, man.
Let's
Yeah.
just go find the
So-
damn emerald.
As you guys go out, you see, the normal passengers. You see the artist elf. You see the judge dwarf. You see the business people, the writers, everybody that you had multiple, we'll call them days, to gather information on. Get their things and start walking out. As you go outside, you see Betsy. The ramp is open and easily drive down. The boxes that are in there are being moved out and stationed nearby. As you look to see, the conductor is now counting people, and as they walk over, you see, I was told that Mr. Chuck had left the train. And the car's back.
Yeah, he left and then came back.
Yes. course he did. Carry on. As he,
They don't call me a man of mystery for nothing.
I'm sure that you have earned that title, sir. Thank you for providing security to the train, and I now relieve you of your burden to me.
Thank you. We are going to need a train back. As I look to the rest of the group.
The deal was to get you here for security. If you would like to be riding back with us, that is more than available, but you will not be required to be security.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Sounds good.
No, don't move that there. As he goes off and he sees different boxes are being put in the wrong places, as Tara pops off and goes and like, who put this hole in the back of the storage train? As the harpoon has definitely left a bit of a giant hole in the side of the train car.
There are at least 2 holes in the train car. From when you
Hell-
left and when you came back.
Yep.
He'll Chuck will look, wave his hat, and just give a nod and say, apologies.
She just looks at you and just,
Yeah, I know.
and then turns
Profanities.
around, goes inside. I don't believe it. She walks
We'll
in.
find our way back. Some way, somehow. We always do.
Well, for some of you, I imagine this is the first time in New York. It's been a number of years since I've been here.
It is for me. My first time, that is.
Yeah, no. My first time as well.
So with that, everybody make me a perception check.
All right.
13.
20.
Wait, no, you rolled a 13. I rolled the 30.
I said 13.
Oh, I thought you said 30.
No, it was.
27.
I did very badly.
I did very well. I rolled a 19.
You're so little. You can't see all over all the people. There's so many people getting out of the train.
Maybe you're in the
So-
hat again. You're just surrounded by darkness.
With that, Chuck and Azuka would see these 2 individuals in these like gray and violet with black robes walk up, and they have this elven appearance with these very tall individuals, probably 6'4"-ish, around that size, walk over to the conductor and start having a conversation, and you overhear, Azuka would overhear just the word Moyen, and Chuck with a 30 would definitely be, we were expecting our associate, Moyen. Do you know where she might be? And the conductor goes, it seems that they might have missed the train, unfortunately. I do not see them on a list of mine. Oh, of course. As they kind of turn off to the side, start walking away, you hear they start looking at each other as they're walking away and having these hushed whispers.
Amen. Very quietly. Does the name Moyen mean anything to you?
Now,
I don't think we heard her
did
name
yeah?
in this
The thing is, like,
timeline.
this timeline.
Yeah.
I don't know if it came up.
No, on the proper timeline, it was go in, attack, go.
Yeah.
There was not really time for conversation.
Learned their name several times in several of the timelines, but not the prime timeline.
But you are all together, so when Chuck asked that, Kyoko definitely would overhear it.
Okay. I didn't know if he was being hushed about it.
Good.
When that happens and you're like, no, I don't know. Kyoko says, that's the one that was trying to blow up the train.
Oh. Oh no.
Hey.
Should we follow them?
I like that.
My
idea.
gut's saying yes, but she looks at Azuka.
I think Azuka has been trying to avoid eye contact with Kyoko this entire time. So I don't think they even notice Kyoko looking at them because they're looking very hard at the ground, as if something's interesting there, but there really isn't anything interesting there.
Chuck pulls his gun and shoots the ground. Just kidding.
What the fuck? Whoa, jeez, relax.
You'll get them one
No.
of these days. Just keep trying.
Yeah, so I think they're just staring down at the ground. I think we'll like look up when they hear that the conversation like stopped for a moment. And just goes, oh, yeah, no, whatever you think is best.
Well, I know we all have other plans that we need to be completing, but I am curious.
And also, if we're taking the train back, I'd rather it didn't blow up on that leg either.
Exactly.
Also, out of sight is never out of mind.
Well then, Kyoko will look to Chuck and follow wherever Chuck is seeing these people from.
Okay, so you
Lead
guys
the
follow
way.
these people. So, as you are walking through the last remaining bits of Weehawken, you get down into the docks next to the Hudson.
Can we be
And-
stealthy about it?
Do you want to be?
I mean,
Mhm.
Kyoko would definitely think that would
That
be.
makes sense, yeah.
They just
Okay,
try to blow
roll
up
some
a
stealth
train.
checks. Yeah,
Okay.
roll some stealth.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like a hiding in plain sight stealth or
Yeah.
just sneaking in the,
You
in
guys
the corner stealth.
Are so I'm going to say this is going to be less of like hiding away from them and more of blending with
Blending
the crowd
in
of
with the
people
crowd. Yeah, I
that
can
are
see that.
also walking in the same direction.
Hmm.
Can I go with deception instead then?
Ooh, that's a good point.
It depends on how you guys want to do it. If you want to do it more of like the performance of acting nonchalant, is it the stealth of you don't want to be seen by them, so you'll dip in behind people in the crowd and try to blend in?
I was
Or is
thinking
it
just
more of-
blending in, but
I already
At least
rolled,
it's a-
so.
Kyoko. Yeah, I already
I
rolled
think-
as well.
I think I will go with going like just pretending I'm meant to be here. I'm meant to be walking in this direction. Like I'm not interested in these people. It just so happens that
Mhm.
we're in the same direction. Because I think it's very
just
hard
picture-
to. It's very
I
hard
just
to
picture-
stealth out against everyone. So like we'll be stealthy against these people following, but everyone else will be seeing us hide behind lampposts and like sneak
Oh,
up
yeah.
into their conversation, pretending we're part of it. So like, I think I'll go with deception.
Okay.
in- for me.
I think I know how my 32 stealth roll gets reflected, which is I think Mentala just hops and hops and hops, activating the shoes each time until he's like 30 feet up and he just walks above them. Who's gonna look up? They've got hoods.
I thought you were going to be in
Perfect.
his hat.
If you rolled
could also
bad, I
be
was
in the
gonna
hat.
say Azuka just
They
starts
actually-
whistling, just like.
They don't have hoods on. You see the full
Okay.
elven features with one of them has like shoulder length silver hair and the other one has really tight black hair.
Okay, you said they had like robes, so I was imagining like cult
Yeah.
robes.
No.
I wrote
Nobody looks up
27,
anyway. I'll just be above them, and if they do start looking up, I can just like, it's buildings either side. I just like hop into like a windowsill.
You're also
is very-
incredibly small, so you're high above them and small.
I would say it's more like classic elven attire. They still have like nice modern underneath, but the overcoat is something that is very classically elven, very old world. With that, you guys do follow down the road to the docks. You see the automatons are lifting heavy crates and bringing with you. Betsy is brought over as you see a ferry that is now docked on the Hudson, and everything starts getting loaded up into there.
Not a little fairy, like a
Yeah, that's
For a
Yeah.
second,
what
I-
I thought.
I-
I was
No,
like,
no,
it's
no,
just
no.
like a
It
little
is-
fairy docked. Like, why am I tied here?
It is one very buff fairy that you guys are all going to get on the shoulders of and get taken across, okay?
Honestly, it reminds
Oh
me
hell
of,
yeah! Betsy will hit on
Zelda
that
Breath of the
fairy and
Wild.
make Red jealous.
Oh, God. We're not going to get a love triangle between inanimate objects. Okay?
I mean,
Fine. They all have a very awkward conversation about who's the best partner for a car. Who wants to roleplay this?
I volunteer Tyler.
No!
Yeah, it's just Tyler RPing.
No, I have
himself.
to flirt as inanimate objects. This is a horrible nightmare.
I rev my radiator. I don't know.
There's a
You-
slight oil spill.
Oh no! Okay, moving on.
I'm not a fan of that.
All right, somebody needs to get to the mechanic.
X card.
I feel like there's a little blue screw that needs to be put in somewhere, you know, like. So what this is going to be, you get up to the docks and everything starts to be loaded on. Betsy gets driven. I'm assuming you use the watch to drive Betsy onto the ferry. And you watch as these two walk over to the edge of the water and then look up and over, and one of them points and this mist starts to swirl around them and they up and away as they almost convert themselves into a mist-like form and shoot over the water, flying away. As you see them fly up to one of the top buildings on the far side, because I'm assuming you guys are watching this. So if everybody wants to, or let's say,
Yeah, we've been following them
so I was
pretty sneakily. 21, 27, 32, 27.
Oh, yeah. You guys rolled great.
Yeah. Could have been worse.
Roll me perception to see if you can notice where they're going.
Ooh, okay.
18. Ooh, 29. Nice, man.
Oh.
20.
And a
crit
nat 20,
29 for
29.
Bazooka.
Okay.
That was a
You definitely
17.
notice a very particular building on the far side that they go to, where they fly up to the top penthouse structure that has this. It's a very tall skyscraper with a triangular glass roof of different forms of very ornately designed penthouse. That I'm trying to get the name of the building of on here. But doesn't really matter. So you know exactly what penthouse structure they're in, and you know you've clocked the building, you know where they flew to. So with that, you guys hop on the ferry and start going across the Hudson. As you see something that kind of tickles you guys. This city is very different from other cities you've been in. Normally, there's still a little bit of lack of maintenance. There's some nature that has reclaimed everything. But as you get closer to New York City, you recognize that there's no vines regrowing. There is no like animals or birds just flying around. It's very much pre-tear New York. And as you get closer, you start to hear the beep beeps of different cars driving around. And you guys see dozens of cars, 2 to 3 times as many as you have seen in other cities, going around everywhere. Just people of all different types going every which way around. It gets louder. Conversations start overlapping. You don't hear the same music that you heard in Chicago from corner to corner, but you do see, as you go up, there's like 2 to 3 different cafes going along the riverside with these walls between them. You see different like outlook structures that have these different militiamen that are on top of them overlooking the river. And as you get close, you see that you dock right next to this militia checkpoint where somebody is going to be going on and checking the different storage crates. You see this man walk up in a very militaristic uniform with a badge that says NY Militia. All right, so what are you guys doing here? Yeah, the lot of you.
Oh,
We're here to
visiting.
collect up. Yeah, we're visiting to pick something up for a friend in LA.
All right. Say, Jesus, Ray. Welcome to New York City. How you guys doing? As another human steps up next to him, he goes, "Oh yeah, welcome." So you guys are coming in from the train. How was it? How was the ride?
Smooth as can be expected.
Oh, really? Well, maybe one of these days I'll have to head out to Chicago myself. But we do have to ask, what brings you here?
Business.
Business. Okay. All I need is some names, and then we can get you guys going through. We just like to keep record of who's coming in and out, just so you know if any trouble gets caused.
Fair
Just put
enough.
down Charles Spadina and Associates.
I'm going to have to respectfully ask for the names. Go ahead and roll a diplomacy check to see if you can convince this man. And actually,
He
let's
doesn't
roll
believe it that
another-
he's Chuck. Do they have like an ID system or something? Papers?
I
So-
rolled a 30.
Yes. And I just rolled a society to see if he would know who Chuck Spadina or Charles Spadina
Oh,
is.
he doesn't.
Rolled low, doesn't have it, no bonuses there, but you roll a 30. He goes, you know what? Sure, why not? We'll go with that for today. Writes in Charles Spadina and Associates. Okay, you guys are free to go through. Are you bringing anything with you other than yourselves?
Oh, my car, Betsy.
Oh, okay. What kind of car? All right. Walks over to Betsy and starts writing down some details and descriptions of what Betsy looks like. Goes, okay, then you guys are good to go. Enjoy the city. As he starts to go and question other passengers and goes, all right, so what brings you guys here? I'm writing a book, actually. And they start having a conversation off in the corner. Betsy gets rolled up off, and you guys are now on the streets of New York City. Cars blaring every which direction. What would you like to do?
Wow.
Well, it looks
Do
different.
you want to head to the spot those people went to? I managed to catch a pretty good glimpse of where they were headed.
Oh,
I
yeah,
couldn't
yeah,
really-
we should probably go that way.
I couldn't really tell, but doesn't hurt.
I was gonna say, if we know where they headed, we know where they'll be. We can carry on our way and check in on that later if we need to.
Well, we don't know if they'll be there the long run.
Yeah, and I don't know how important this. Well, I imagine this emerald is pretty important. I don't want to have that on us when we do confront. If we do confront these people.
Yeah,
Fair.
makes sense. Chuck, do you have a place here?
I gotta
Roll for
my,
it.
my memory check thing,
Roll for it.
Let's see.
right? Or is,
if
is it the flat D20? I can't remember what you
it's a
you
flat
were doing.
D20. Let's see what ammo has. Nope.
3.
A 3. Oof. He's
Every
got
time
a
you've been
alley.
to New York, it has been a hotel, it has been some sort of reservation. You're put up by another company, something along that. Mintala specifically, you see so many paths. This is the vibrance of your energy just going crazy. You actually see as cars are going through intersections, like the path energy stops as cars are going through, recreates itself. And so this city almost feels like the paths are recreating themselves consistently, constantly regrowing new pathways, stopping, diverting, moving. It feels alive and flowing. Almost like it's
It's
dancing
just-
around.
Looking around, it's like, wow. So three-dimensional.
Mhm.
Imagine there's things like flowing up and down the skyscrapers and stuff, and like there's the subways and there's other ways. I don't know the ways. I've never been to New York.
You Let me see if I can get the name of this right, just because I want to make sure. As you are looking up, you see one pathway that's like up in the sky, going from building to building, and you're like, what could possibly do that? As these 3 Strix individuals, which are these bird people, fly from one building to the next, almost like they're hopping from building to building as they're going through, and you're just like, this is a lot.
Yep, and Tom's very distracted.
I like
Thank-
this. This is cool.
I think Kyoko can feel the energy from Mintala and just smiles as she looks out. Do I see anything weird timeline wise?
As you guys are, depends on if you're walking through the city, if what you're going for. Go ahead and make me a few fortune telling roll.
Okay. Ooh, 13. Not a crazy one for me.
You see that like you try to dip your toe into the future and see what you can, and mainly what you see is like, does this person go across the street and then over, or do they go over and then across the street? Like you see people making the decisions of different paths and like how they're gonna go different ways. Like one person's about to walk out into the street and a car's gonna hit them and then they stop, but not really anything
Nothing
drastic
drastic.
about this place.
I'm gonna roll my daily dice as well.
Sounds good. 15.
15.
2 15s. Roll20 really wants your number to be 15.
Apparently.
So, did you guys want to go to a hotel? Did you want to go straight to the museum? What is your direct path at this point?
I
Don't
guess
even
what I suggest
know where
would
it
depend
is.
on. Yeah.
Kyoko wants to
What?
kind of go where Azuko's suggestion, following where the people were.
How is everyone looking health-wise?
Yeah, I
know
was
we
gonna
had a
say maybe
short
we should
rest,
get a hotel and rest
but I don't know
first.
if we had a long rest.
That's
Chuck's
true.
fine.
I could do some healing.
Honestly, Azuka's great.
I bet.
I'm not great, but I can heal most of myself with a focus point. So there is that. But I've got spell slots expended and things like that.
I mean, you could technically add a short rest. I don't know what you guys recover in a short rest.
I think we
Short
really
rest?
technically had.
You said they had
Yeah.
an hour. That's a short rest.
My cat took
Yeah.
my earbud. I do need to
Oh
heal
no.
myself.
Don't believe in Pathfinder there really is much for short rests. I was looking up at that. I'm
Yeah,
trying
because
to
we
see
took
if
an
that's a good
hour break
point.
early before, and I don't think you get. There's not like hit die and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. I see long-term rest.
Let's see, short. There's no short rest.
But yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, there isn't a short rest.
There really isn't. Nothing that I was able to find. So,
Yeah.
Just gotta heal yourself. I have many level 1 spells.
Yeah.
'Cause I
think
oddly
thanks
didn't
to
use that
The
many.
treat wounds option, short rests aren't as needed as they are in D&D.
exactly.
Right.
15.
We could get a
Actually-
hotel, just sleep, and then we're refreshed and ready to maybe take out a cult the next day.
It is about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd say.
I think it's about time we actually had a nice sit down at a restaurant, if you ask me.
I'm never
And
gonna
I
say
can
no
make
to
a
food.
call to Percy, maybe, or find a way to contact Percy. Again, no phone lines. God, this drives me. How do I get in touch with Percy?
Right?
It's probably like
You
a
need
sending stone.
Sending
network.
stones, yeah. Like a sending stone network.
Mhm.
Perhaps I can get in touch with Percy and see about accessing some funds here.
Mm.
We also have a lot of money.
You make me well aware of how rich I am all the time.
Oh
Azuka.
no, not. I mean, we found a lot of gold. It's all in, and I point to Kyoko's bag of holding.
We do have a
You've-
bunch of old world gold.
Found it?
You were there with us when we
It was-
found the whole.
Oh.
It was the
So-
home of the Ifriti and all that thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where I got
Probably their
that
life
from.
savings.
My
Since
wife.
Chuck is the only person of means, roll me society.
Society. 19.
Okay.
It's a 10 on the die.
With a 19, you know that you can hire relatively powerful wizards or spellcasters to do a sending spell, but out of game, it is a level 5 spell. In game, they charge a lot for it. So it's really something that only the very wealthy would use so careful, like laissez-faire, you know.
Fair. Something that Chuck would use on occasion.
Maybe when you had all your money.
Maybe when he had friends.
Exactly.
Oh.
Is there a backstory we need to go into for Chuck and his loss of friends? Like,
But
Dude's
I
a,
think he just
dude's
tried
a
to
lone
flirt with
wolf.
one of them.
He lives a double life, man.
I imagine they all died
Yeah.
of old age.
That too.
So sad, but
Yeah.
so true.
I think Chuck tried to flirt with all of them, and they were like, "Oh,
Oh my god, no!
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh,
Hold
I
on.
like that.
Ooh. Chuck purposefully was bad at flirting to get everybody to leave so that they're like, I didn't
All
like
right.
being around him.
All right, we're leaving it to the dice. If this ends up
Oh,
being
God.
a 100, then Azuka is correct.
Please give that to me.
No,
Ah,
71.
No. There was a
Not
1%
accurate.
chance. 1%. We're going to leave Chuck as a 1% bad flirter.
No, I never said he was whether he'd flirt with all of his friends. That's a 1%er.
That's very true.
I think Kyoko just says, well, if we don't decide to follow them now, we might lose their tracks. And that's my only worry. Today has been a very interesting one. Mentala, are you seeing any strange pathways head in that direction?
I didn't notice anything in particular. Hold on. I'm gonna see if I can spot anything by specifically looking. Anything leading
Kyoko's
to
worried if we're gonna
or
go have a
somewhere
nice
around that building.
meal, that something awful's gonna happen, and there's a reason she's meant to make it here.
Ooh. So normally I would do a nature check for like discerning this, but you have lore for urban, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll me that.
Oh yeah.
Urban terrain.
Urban
Okay.
18.
With your 18, you kind of put a feeler out with the energy, and you're just like, it's such a constant flow and flux of everything that's around you that you'll get a read on something and then it's gone and then it's back again, but it's a little different, but it's not. And so it's like, you kind of have to take it in the moment. It's more of a reactionary with this existence, with so many different paths and people mixing all at once. When it was a couple hundred people and you were seeing the paths that everybody takes every day and it was very stagnant and same, pretty easy to tell. But when it's thousands of people constantly walking around, constantly changing,
It keeps being sort of undone and rewoven. It's hard to pin down any specific small thing. It's all so complicated. The whole thing's breathing.
you don't see anything that would lead or has like any sort of dangerous indication.
Yeah, it's just, place is so alive. I can't even find anything in particular that's wrong, which doesn't mean there isn't anything. It's just that it's not big enough. If that makes sense.
Well,
In short, no.
All right.
sounds like maybe we just need to rest.
I'm uneasy about it, but if that's what everyone wants to do.
Okay. So with none of you ever having been here before, there is just walking around, there's asking a random person on the street, there's looking for a map, maybe. What would you guys like to do?
I would like to roll for my memory of where I stayed hotel-wise in the past.
Go for it. Make me a intelligence check.
I actually have a lore memory check.
Go for it.
19. Another 10 on the die. I'm rolling lots of 10s today.
Damn, middle of the road. With the 19, you know that there was a hotel that you stayed at. Who knows if it's still there? What the Ritz-Carlton? I was going to say something like the Four Seasons, but if you want to go to the Ritz,
Ritz-Carlton, I think, is older.
probably. Let's see where that would be. Oh, it's actually perfect. It's exactly where I was actually thinking of. If you go to
There's the Cosmopolitan that was built in 1845.
The Ritz-Carlton ends up being on the southernmost portion of Central Park. You definitely know that there's a place that you stayed right there with a nice restaurant right next to it called La Belle Jaune.
Ah. Well, if my memory serves me, there's a hotel I stayed in each time I've been here. I don't own a place. we're gonna have to pay, and I'm pretty sure it's expensive considering that's where I was put up for ammo business. But there's a hotel there's a hotel and a nice restaurant nearby.
Well, as Zuka mentioned, we do have some. And she kind of shakes the pouch that she has, the little purse.
Cool. Now I can call you the rich gal. I don't have to be the rich guy.
Well, it's all of us, I suppose.
Those who carry the money tend to be the ones that own it. He gives a sly smile.
She just shakes her head and starts walking. You hear the clacking of her heels in the direction that he pointed.
I don't know why you're walking for. We got Betsy here. We can drive.
All right, then. She'll get into Betsy.
So as this is happening, guys get in the car, and immediately it's go in, turn a corner, bumper to bumper traffic. Just in the middle of the day, just burp, 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 burp. Just somebody just laying on the horn as somebody just tries to cut across 3 lanes at the same time. Then immediately someone gets out like, "Hey, what are you doing?" As this rat folk sticks his head out of a taxi, rips his hat off, and just starts slamming against the side. "Get out of the road if you don't know how to drive, come on." Like, as he's just screaming at somebody around the corner. "Hey, what do you mean? I'm just trying to get across here. I gotta go over there. What do you want? Let's stop it for you." Like, this is chaos as you go in. You're just like, you see people walking past you on the street faster than people are able to drive. Eventually,
Why do people drive here? We should just walk.
Where am I going to put Betsy? Turn around?
do you try to turn around?
I'm trying to I'm going to search for the nearest parking structure for me to put Betsy in, and I'm not finding anything.
No. With a 13, I'm going to actually say, Mentala, give me an urban terrain.
Okay. Dirty 20?
So with that,
I'm not going to keep that sound going.
yeah.
It would get so annoying after a while.
As Chuck is driving through all these cars, you kind of like jump up onto the back of the driver's seat, and you see like, as somebody's about to decide to turn, you see the path energy flow through, and you're like, "Go there, go there, go there." Like you are calling out the shots like a GPS, seeing the predictive paths that are around here.
Nice. 23 on acrobatics.
Perfect. With that, you are able to bob and weave your way through this. You do cut off quite a few people. And, what would it be? As you cut off this last person, there is a tiefling in a business suit who's in this really fancy car, and he goes like, "Hey, what are you doing? Why are you taking the spot? What's wrong with over... Go take it to my place!" And he's just yelling at you guys as you're weaving through these cars, and you end up making it to the Ritz-Carlton with only a minor scratch on the back bumper, as one guy got a little aggressive and bumped up right into you.
Yeah, it was somebody trying to follow closely because they saw we were doing well weaving.
Exactly. So as you pull around the Ritz-Carlton, you do see parking built in that goes down underground.
Betsy, you're going to stay here probably for a while.
And with that, as you are walking towards the hotel, you see across the street this wonderfully elegant and decadent restaurant with waiters in full tuxes, with these luxury booths and tables outside, flowing wine, and a string quartet in the back just with a just like these instruments flowing and wonderful music across the street. As it's like, okay, that'd be nice. Do you guys want to go eat, or do you want to do the hotel first? Those were the two
I'm going to
things
flip
you
a
gave me.
coin. 2 is the
Let the gods
restaurant.
decide.
Oh, is there no... There it is. The restaurant's first.
Okay. With that, you guys
feel
walk
like
Maybe
over.
hungry. Well, we know
I think
Azuka's
I-
hungry.
Heading into this, Mentala's like, Red, I might have to bring you back after. This might be a little bit too fancy for rocks.
But it sounds so good. I
Actually,
can wait.
if we've
I
got
can
a-
wait outside.
Yeah, if we've
I
got a
just- I
table
like the
within 100 feet of the door, then we'll be all right.
Oh, sorry, what was it?
I'm like, We'll go in. It was like, you stay outside. If you get too far away, I'll have to desummon. But otherwise, you can hang around outside with the car and stuff, and
Oh,
not
yeah,
get into anything.
that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, have fun.
And you see him just listening to the beats of everything, and he like looks over and just sees all the cars in the concrete, and he just has this like this weird feeling of being amongst very similar elements, you know? And just this kind of like,
These are
Cool.
these are Red's people.
oh yeah.
The cars.
He's in his element.
Mhm.
I
Is
imagine him just starts walking around honking at them. No.
Honestly, I tried to equate it to me going to Ireland. You know, it was just like, I know none of what this is about, but you look like my grandfather, and this is what my mom used to make me, and this is really cool. Like, it was just this like awesome sensation.
He's the closest he'll ever be to the elemental plane of construction materials.
Exactly. The great Home Depot in the sky is what he's really looking
Great Home
for.
Depot in the sky.
Like, that would be his home.
Oh, that's
Nobody
such
wants
a
to be a
line.
bad elemental and get sent to a Lowe's. We love going to Home Depot.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Hold on.
Look, it's the only other store that I know. I had to do some comparison.
I'll take Lowe's over Home Depot the majority.
Lowe's
of the
has like a
time.
good garden center too. Sometimes.
Yeah. The only time I'll generally go to Home Depot is for lumber.
So there you go.
It's expensive, but
For the UK to be B&Q.
Yeah, I was thinking B&Q.
Thank you.
I miss.
What
I
does
miss
B&Q,
old
does it
school
stand for
lumber
something?
yards.
I
Beans
don't
and
know what
queso.
B&Q stands for.
I don't know. I want to look that up now.
I'm gonna look at we
I like how
never
you just
think about
accept
these
it.
things.
Big
We
in
don't-
quality.
It's just called B&Q. We don't know.
Big in quality.
I mean, we have
It's-
A&W, and I don't know
it's
what that stands
Block
for.
on Quail.
You don't know what
Um,
A&W stands for?
Never bothered to. I know it has root beer, and so far that's what I got.
Block
I
and
don't- I
Quail?
don't
Is
know
that
what
just like the people that
A&W
It's
founded
stands
it?
for
it's the
either.
brothers who founded
think
it. It's
yeah.
Alan and Wright
Oh.
for A&W.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's
It's normally
Richard
something like
Block
that.
and David Quayle. He launched the store in 1969. Nice.
Mm.
So you
Interesting.
walk up to this lovely restaurant, the
The more
smell
you
of
know.
croissants and pastries and these delicate. You guys watch as like meals are coming out, and they are incredibly small.
I
Like
hope
it's
y'all
just
brought your
multiple
snacks.
small meals are coming out. As you walk up, and there's a human at the front next to a podium. And so, oh, yes,
Yeah, we would like to have a table for 4.
kind of gives you like an up and down look. Are you sure that you're able to afford this particular restaurant?
Do you want
That's-
to
Careful,
do you want to
not
insult
sure.
the founder of Ammo?
Monsieur, the founder of Ammo would not be walking around in such tatters. Would you like to roll me a diplomacy check? Or provide some sort of proof of some kind?
Does Chuck not have ID? Is that what we're learning
18.
today?
He rolled an 18.
I rolled an 18, yeah.
Ah, might I recommend down the street there is a particular place that you might be able to find yourself some fancy attire. And then maybe we might be able to allow you into Le Bellagio. But until that time, we must abide by our dress code.
That's understandable. Apologies for potentially insulting your restaurant.
Oh, there is no insult. Have a wonderful day.
Kyoko
It's
is
literally
confused.
right down the street if you'd like to go and check it out. And there's a big sign that says Stuff and Stitch.
No, it can't be. Follow me. This will be interesting.
All right.
Okay.
Kyoko kind of gives the gentleman who was kind of rude to us a look, but then continues forward.
He's a French person who makes very nice food. He's a little rude.
He's a little snobby.
He's a little snobby. So you walk over to the Stuff and Stitch, and in one side of the windows are these immaculate formal attire, and down on the other side is just a pastry chef's dream of different desserts.
I'm so hungry.
Chuck
Wait,
Chuck
so-
has a smile on his face, and he's like, "My friend, there's no way he's still around." And Chuck will push open the door and immediately just go, "Is this Stitchin's place?"
Chuck, now you have to act out the other character. Or Tyler. You role play with yourself.
Would you like me to tell
The
you
chat's
who's
gonna be
there?
like, what? Because I
I
don't
would
think
love
they even
for you
remember.
to tell me who's there.
Over in the corner, you see a portly man with a small curly Q mustache and a smaller hat than the last time somebody was mentioned. He has a almost like a half suit with like a bunch of different like rolls of different stitch coming off of one side, and on the other side he has this like holster that has a different knife and like a rolling pin just ready to go. And he's like, I had the voice, and then it was gone.
Help him out,
so
Tyler.
lost right now.
Help him out, Tyler. You won't be lost soon.
Oh, my friends, would you please come into my shop? Please, 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 come on in. How may I serve you today?
Kyoko will walk in and she's like, well, thank you kindly, sir. And she'll kind of look at the food and see what's good.
It is a pleasure to meet you. My name is Ken Oliver Stitchins. It's a pleasure.
Oliver Stitchins.
Yes, it's a name my father gave me.
You're his son.
Oh yes, my father had a lovely time over in Los Angeles, and then he took unfortunately, God bless him, he took a little trip out into the storm and never came home. But I honor his legacy by opening up a shop and stuff and stitch.
I knew your father. The name's Charles Spadina.
Oh, Mr. Spadina, he always talk about how he always go and help out the ammo folk with looking so fancy for their conferences.
Well, as you can tell, I'm a little worse for wear from travelers, as are my colleagues here. And we want to go to the restaurant across the street, and you know how uppity they can
Do you want
be.
to go to Le Bergeron and you're looking like that? No, that simply cannot be. Let me take care of you. Please, we'll let the son of the famous cannoli man help you. As he goes, while you wait,
Who,
please,
man?
please, dine on this. As he goes to the back and pulls out a platter of about 6 or 7 different styles of cannoli, 1 chocolate, 1 caramel, 1 strawberry. We got ourselves a pistachio. We have ourselves a double chocolate with a little whipped cream on the inside that has just the full dark chocolate effect going through. Now, please, I'm going to take you back one by one. I'm going to give you measurements, and we're going to alter this to be perfect.
I am very confused as I take a cannoli and bite into it.
Kyoko
that
equally.
on
I
the
think like
table?
we're standing next to each other and we're both kind of look at each other maybe, and we're like, I think
Like,
Kyoko just
yeah.
shrugs and grabs a cannoli.
So, as he is measuring Chuck,
You see, my father, he was on the search for the most perfect cannoli. And I had to follow that search. And I do believe that I found it, even though that search did take him aboard that very same cargo ship, the cruise ship that did go into the sea.
I will say,
If only
Edward
there wasn't a
was-
pastry chef aboard that cruise ship who was so world-renowned. Just maybe my father would be here today.
Condolences
Anyway.
to you and your family. But it seems you have done him well.
Oh, you know, I honor my father every day.
How's the
please.
cannolis taste? Do we need a cannoli
really
roll?
good.
Oh, okay.
Here's the thing. I'm going to roll to see how good they are. I don't want them to be bad because this is the honor and the memory of the cannoli man. So the
Gotcha.
worst they can be is great. Okay?
Okay. All right.
I do just want to check. I just want to make sure I heard right. His name is, did you say Ken Oliver?
Yeah, Ken Oliver Stitchins.
Yeah. Ken Oliver Stitchins. Okay.
I like
Yeah.
that Bentham is putting it together.
No, I heard
Together.
it and was like, I don't know if I heard it right.
Yeah.
My friends call me
Well, it's
Ollie,
a-
so can Ollie Stitcher. You know,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yep.
My
So-
face hurts already.
Takes 10 minutes, goes to the back with Chuck.
Comes out. Sir, would you like to join me? Kind of beckons Azuka over.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
And
No,
this is a
follow.
very interesting situation for Azuka to be fitted for a suit. With the
Yeah.
invasiveness that happened, how does Azuka feel with that?
I think Azuka went in thinking that like there's some kind of like rack of shirts that can just be like, do you like this shirt? Here you go, and it just expects you to like pull a shirt off a hanger and wear it.
Yeah.
So I
So you
think
expect this massive racks of suit, and as you go back, it's literally a pedestal with mirrors around it, and a bunch of different reams of cloth off to the side. Now, please, would you like to stand in the center stage?
yeah.
As like a hand goes to the low of your back and like pushes you onto the stage,
Oh.
grabs you at the wrist, and you have this string going up across, and then goes across the back, goes around the chest,
What is happening?
goes down the leg, starts to go up the inside of the leg to get the inseam, and then
Oh,
just you're having this full on like, okay, what's happening? Kind
I
of
think like
scenario.
outside you're gonna hear a bunch of like remarks of like surprise of every time there's a new measurement. Like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, oh, sorry, okay, do I touch second? No,
I don't
okay.
mean to be very particular about this, but when was the last time you bought any new clothing? This does not fit you whatsoever.
I had a growth spurt.
Very recently, you look. Pardon, but you seem to be in your mid-20s. Is that?
Yeah,
Do you still have growth spurts at that time? Maybe there still might be hope for
apparently.
me. A man of 5'4", you know. I always aim to be a 6'5", but you know, God gave me a little bit less, but He gave me more talent to fill.
I wouldn't recommend how I've gone through mine. Is there anything else you need from me?
A choice of color for the suit that you would enjoy.
I'm gonna like poke my head out and just go, Yoko, what color suit should I have?
Ooh. That's a hard one. I think Kyoka says, well, what's your favorite color?
I don't really have one. Well, I have a favorite color, but it's not necessarily my favorite color to wear.
Well, what's your favorite color to wear?
I don't really
Have you
have one.
tried
Might
your
I
favorite
suggest
color?
something that complements your skin tone and hair color?
I'm not good with color theories. I don't know what color that would be.
See, look at this woman over here. She has a dress that complements her skin, that complements her eyes, that complements her hair. Look at the beauty. Look at the grace. You want to find something that does that for you?
Okay, okay. What do you think would do that for me?
Oh, that is not for me to decide.
I don't. Okay. Pink?
We can go with the pink. Sure. Okay, which means we're going to be doing. And he starts going on this color theory rant. And while this does happen for everybody, I don't want to go through doing the measurements for everyone. Think in your mind a really fancy attire, some high class formal wear that you would have.
Oh,
We'll start
okay.
with Chuck.
What was
What
the
kind
question?
of what kind of suit does Canna Oliver Stitchins make for you?
It's a fancy dress suit. Something that's more satin and clean and stylish.
Do you go for the black on black on black? Very Keanu.
No, I
Black, white,
think he
black.
goes.
Gray.
I think he goes for something a little more flashy,
Okay.
with like a navy black, with then a black and then a white accessories.
Ooh. Black and black with white accessories. So like you
Navy
want
black and navy black and black with white accessories.
navy, black, white accessories.
Yeah, so it'd be like the white
Okay.
bow tie or white cufflinks, that kind of stuff.
All right. Very classic, very I think it was like a Boardwalk Empire style navy suit. Comes out with these very nice black collared shirt with a intricate black tie that has a little bit of white stitching that goes in on this like fleur design that has the cuffs on the black collared shirt also have the same matching design woven in with these cufflinks that have very poppish, this almost ivory design texture to it that really pops with the color. and it actually does form fit really well. Chuck looks good. Chuck looks real good. Like if he was hot, he's now like, okay, yeah, sure. Women are gonna start flirting with him now. Mintala, what do we got?
I'm thinking blue. Not like super bright, but not super dark either. Like a deep blue. Maybe
You know,
a
in the
little
back, I
bit
just
sort
got the
of-
new dream of the cobalt. Would you like to come and check it out?
Yeah, let's go.
So it goes in the back, and he has this nice dark blue that has almost like a semi-gemstone effect to it, that as it moves, the way the light hits it brightens up that section alone on the suit, so it almost looks like it has a shine as it goes across.
I was gonna say that.
Perfect. So he gets you, it's like, to be honest, I'm gonna be done with this in like 10 minutes. You're such a tiny person. But I do suits and attire for all kinds. Goes in, just, his hands are a blur, and he brings this wonderful suit for you with the cobalt exterior with like a darker undershirt and then a more bright blue for the tie.
Nice.
All right, Zuka.
So I think it's a black dress shirt with a burgundy necktie, pink waistcoat, pink blazer, pink pants, and black dress shoes, with a what's it called? Pocket
Mhm.
handkerchief.
Mhm.
Pocket square. That's the word. With a black pocket square.
Would you like me to add a little black trim along the pink suit to give it more of a pop?
Yeah, sure.
Fantastic. There's a very thin black line that kind of encompasses the suit to have it stand out more to the contrast, so the threading really makes it explode.
And yeah, they kind of like they look good, but you can tell they feel uncomfortable in it because they're like, oh, okay, this is the most
fits.
pieces of fabric I've ever worn.
It fits well. And you actually kind of like go to back and you sit down. It doesn't tug anywhere. It doesn't, as you sit, like the knees don't feel extended. Like you're like, I could do a full like roundhouse kick and this would be fine. And it has like the nice, like the 2 button in the front that you're able to like spread. Like it's great.
Yeah.
Beautifully done. All right, Kyoko.
All
Finish
right, I'm
this
gonna
up.
send you a picture. So it's kind of like the one that's on the front, the first one on the
Ooh.
left. But I was also thinking blue because I feel like blue plus the orange hair and like the orange, vibe,
Okay.
like would look good together. So like blue, like a deep blue
So you
plus
like
maybe
it-
some black accents.
More form-fitting from like ribs down to mid-thigh, then drapes out with a little bit of like drapery from the shoulders down to around mid-waist.
Yeah.
Big hat.
Oh yeah, a big hat.
Okay. You know what? Actually, my compliment is very nice. He reaches up. I have this hat. It might be a little bit too much, but I know that a woman of your stature, the fluffiness of the tails with the largeness of the hat, it would balance out the attire so well.
I love it.
Perfect. Same type of like silkiness as well, and it feels very nice. Okay. Then with all of that, you now all have your fancy attire. And I do believe that if my father was definitely a business person of yours, and then the inheritance that I did receive would be definitely of proportion to what you were able to give to him. So I'm only going to give you a discount, for sure. 100 gold for everything.
Yeah, that seems fair, right? That's fair.
Is
If
that
you do need
fair?
any alterations or fixings within the next month or so, you can always come back and I'll fix it up right proper. Lifetime guarantee of happiness.
Kyoko will put her hand in her purse, like it's like this tiny little purse, and she just takes out the exact perfect amount.
To be honest, I feel like
That
you
was
could have just flashed this definitely to La Belle Legend. But yeah, I love it. Exact change. Please take some cannolis on me for the road. I know it might be down the street, but at the rate that people go out there, it might be 25 minutes before your car can reach it.
Oh yeah, no, I think we're walking.
So I was almost against the rat folk learning how to drive. There's so many of them, but by God, they are the best taxi people. They find all of the back alley. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent here. So please enjoy. You guys each get like 3 cannolis a person that are in this lovely like carrying case that is like this intricate design with a big old like thumbs up smiley face curly Q for on the front of him, just representing his own cannolis.
I'm just imagining like a
Ooh,
thumb
Azuka,
with
I
like a
like that.
little
Yeah,
mustache,
I
like
like
as
that.
as the logo.
Son of a mustache. I love
Yeah.
it.
It's
Perfect.
cute.
So, with that, you
You
guys
know.
make your way back out, and you walk out feeling dressed to the nines.
All right.
Seems that the son follows suit in the father's footsteps.
You're friends with his father, I heard.
Every suit, every jacket you've seen me wear has the mark of stitchings within.
Well, it's unfortunate that he passed away then, but it seems he'd be very proud of his son.
I'd probably argue with them about cannolis, to be completely honest.
I did roll, and I rolled a 6. So they're only, they're still really good, but he's obviously a better tailor than he is a chef.
Yeah.
He's trying his best to honor his father's memory, but he just doesn't have the same taste for cannolis.
You can kind of
likes
tell that
Stitching more.
people mainly just enjoy the pastries while they're waiting for their clothes rather than coming in for the pastries themselves. So, with that, you walk back out onto the street, and as you do, like people are like, "Oh," get a little turn heads as you guys are walking down the street. You get back to the front of Le Balajon, and there's a person up there who's like, "Oh, I see you come back with a better attire."
Now do you question whether I'm Charles Spadina?
I will always question whether you are the person who you say you are, but I will never deny your money. I'm going to blend these accents so much. This is going to be so fun.
It was like a French and an Italian person together.
I blend accents
Hey, at
as
least he
is.
didn't
I go
get
from like
Sebulba.
British to Irish to Australian so fast.
Hey, you
Ugh,
know,
God.
I like the cannoli.
See, I can't do that. That is the cannoli man. But his son, he's a man of purpose and tailoring. But
You know, we like the cannoli.
The chat was like, he's back. And then when it's his son, they're like, oh.
I almost wanted to name the episode today "The Son of the Cannoli Man" because
Oh.
I was going to try to get it to happen. Calling it the son of Chucky. Which actually that it kind of is with Chuck being anyway. So would you like a outside or inside table for today? We do have a very nice view of Central Park if you would like to be sitting up front. We do have some upstairs views that might have some windows with more of a private seating if you would like to be able to or can afford such a thing.
We'll take the upstairs one.
No, fantastic, sir. Just to let you know, that does come with a 20 gold per person.
I look to Kyoko.
I look to Chuck.
That's fine. I'll pay you back.
Then Kyoko just nods.
Now, right this way. As he leads you guys through, it is elegant inside. The chandeliers, the way the glass is made, and it reflects light. And you can tell there's a little bit of arcane influence as the light gets trapped inside a section of the chandelier, and the prism shoots it around in a spiral up. As you spiral in the staircase going up to the second floor, there is just ornate filigree along every little bit of design. Everything has some elven influence in one section as it's next to this one painting of elven histories. It goes off to this other side of dwarven stature and strength on this other. And then a couple of different French wars. We have any cultural influence that could have happened. They try to have a representation of just high class and culture. The table that you go to sit at is covered in this beautiful table runner with these candles that have flame, but when you pass your hand through them, you find out it's actually magical flame, and the heat that's coming off of it is definitely arcane. And everything, it's almost like stepping into like a little bit of Eberron, where everything has a little bit of magic with it. You sit down, and they have this large curved window as you look outside that overlooks a beautiful Central Park, and you're able to people watch to your heart's content as they go through the trails that are outside. And in the far distance, you see a large carnival pop-up tent. And next to it, the Natural History Museum that you know that you are here to see.
Now, we've all had a rough trip. Been some bumps in the road and a lot going on. But I think it's only fair, no matter what happens, we have tonight to enjoy.
Well then, to tonight.
As you say, that water is brought out in intricate crystal glasses, as well as a appetizer that is just this, like, how do I put this? Very thin pieces of fish that is ornately dropped onto this rice plate that has this sauce kind of plated around it, but it's all in like little tapas style of everything. No menus were ever even brought to you. Food just comes out, and a bottle of wine comes out and is poured for each one of you.
So the food is like tiny, right?
Mhm.
I think Zuka like eats it in one go and just goes, that was nice. Can I have the full meal?
Azuka,
Kyoko kind of smiles and like has an internal giggle.
Yeah.
pace
The
yourself
samples are pretty nice. Huh?
and taste it. Just pace yourself and taste it.
I did. That's what samples are for, and I liked
This-
it. And
It's
I
not.
want.
This is one course of many.
A bottle of wine
This
comes
is
out,
one
and
course?
the waiter goes over to Chuck and offers him the bottle.
He'll
Do you know what to
look
do?
at. Are you talking about me aerating, or are you talking about like?
No, you have to be like,
He
they
presents
offer
the
it
Yeah,
to
bottle
do I
to
approve
you.
or not?
Do you approve?
Yeah.
Goes, okay,
Yeah.
takes it, pours out a little bit into a glass, gives
He,
it to you.
he would have me do the
Mhm.
swirl, the sniff. Like, this is the fanciest you have ever seen Chuck act. Like, everything about proper table etiquette and everything.
All the
Um,
forks in the right position. Azuka, you sit down and there are like 3 different forks on one side, 2 different spoons on the other, 2 different types of cutlery, 3 different types of glasses in front of you. One, there's a waiter that is constantly like right around the corner and just waiting, literally waiting. And then somebody on another side like ups their hand and they immediately go over. There is at the beck and call service for this. And then after about 20 minutes, a little chicken braised in red wine with mushrooms, onions, bacon, and a rich stew kind of is brought out. I'm sorry, Maggie, but I have a full thing set for that.
I'm hungry. I'm so hungry. They saw me. I even ate a bowl of oatmeal before.
Really?
Is it
Um,
kind of like, are they all like, I just want to ask a guess. Is
This
all of
is
this food is
slightly
small,
larger.
right?
This one's slightly larger.
Okay. Okay. I guess the samples are getting bigger. Gonna again very quickly finish this. I think like definitely grabs the wrong spoon, but like
yeah.
doesn't just kind of look at all the
Hint.
spoons and
You
go.
always work your way outside in. So as the
Yeah.
plates come.
Oh, but he
sometimes-
doesn't
Jack
know.
knows that, but
Yeah,
Zika
sure.
doesn't know that.
Look, I was forced to go to Cotillion as a child to learn table manners. So like, I'm gonna use it somewhere. Mintala's brought out. There's a feast for Mintala for this because
It's
they
great.
do not change portion sizes. The chef makes what the chef makes. So you are sitting there. You have just the most chicken, and then another smaller plate comes out, and like you're maybe not even done with that chicken, but they take it away anyway, and you're like, wait, and then they put out this little fatty piece of meat in front of you that is definitely pan-seared, that has like a fruit compote with it. And then the waiter goes with, and this would be the foie gras for tonight. And sits down and leaves. Multiple dishes are brought out like this. They just are decadent and rich. And you guys have a wonderful experience in the glimpse of the life of Chuck.
Zika is supremely unsatisfied by the end of it, I think. Because
You
it's
could
very much
eat
the case of, like,
Mentala's food.
Yeah,
I-
like if he can stop them taking it away, Mentala tries to like give some of his portions to Azuka. He's like, I know this.
Mhm.
Thank you.
More
I
food
guess.
than me.
I like the idea of
Is this
Mentala
20
being
gold?
super full and then Azuka being like super hungry right next to him.
Oh yeah. By the 5th round of food, they have this. I think it's called like a beef bourguignon. Bourguignon. I cannot pronounce it. But it is a slow cooked beef stew that has this lovely aroma. And when they bring it out, it is just these thick chunks of meat in this very rich sauce. And I bet Azuka just starts mouth watering at the actual normal size of food in front of them. You actually do get to finish the plate before somebody comes over and brings over just a creme brulee that doesn't seem to have like the torch on the top. They clear the table, and one specified person comes over and just snaps their fingers as a little flame produces from each of the 3 fingers. As they put their finger down, they snap again, and the fire goes out, coalesces around the creme brulee, goes into the center, turns blue, and you see the sugar start to crisp along the top, and then snuffs out. He goes, and enjoy. As they leave, probably around the 4th bottle of wine and the dessert, I'm going to need everybody to make a this would be a fortitude save to see if they get a little bit, tipsy. And I believe that Kyoko should have like a -4 because of their previous experience with drinking.
What? Why?
I don't know if it should be a -4. I don't think you should get a minus for previously drinking.
I got a
Look,
20.
you learn from your previous drinking experience.
Nah, you're fine.
I don't know.
24.
Chuck's getting drunk.
Okay. Mentala is fine. Kyoko is fine. Chuck gets like on the far side of tipsy. Like a couple more glasses and you would be on the floor, but like you're feeling good. And Azuka is definitely tipsy. Anything below a 20 is tipsy. Below 15 is borderline drunk. Below 10 is drunk. That's what I would say.
Okay. Yeah. I think the entire time he's just very loudly complaining about the portion size. Like, 20 gold for this? We could have just gone to...
Oh, darling, it's more
stayed
than 20
at-
gold. It's just 20 gold to be in this space.
What? Jamie French, don't put your finger on my mouth.
Here,
Stop it.
here,
Stop it.
eat mine before they take it away. Go.
I'm gonna quickly grab Intana's and just stuff it down into my face.
Oh my god, I just
told
realized
you.
that the caramelized crispy top of a creme brulee to Mentala would be like a thick like thing to grab onto. Oh my god, that would be amazing.
It's just like
Sorry,
a
continue.
like a chompy, crunchy, like
Yeah.
caramel crisp, I guess.
Yeah,
Like
I would say
caramel
that.
chip.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Listen, you know, I don't have many friends, and it's nice to have friends again. But you enjoy food, not just to gobble it down for once, please. Yeah.
Food is to fuel you, and this does very little of that.
Nah, it enjoys. It's decadent, it's sweet, it's unique.
I think Kyoko just is kind of like eating, like she just cracks hers and then is eating it very politely and kind
Mhm.
of smiling at the situation that's unfolding in front of her.
Think of
Does
it
Kyoko
like
get a little red in the cheeks from the wine? little bit, but
Maybe,
not much.
but
'Cause you're
I
not-
think she's feeling good.
You've been pacing yourself, so you have like that nice kind of like slight buzz, but it's like at the right
Yeah.
part where you're like, I don't want to drink anymore. This is nice to just kind of relax into.
Think of it like a fine romance. It's not to be consumed, it's to be enjoyed and spent time with and savored. Like a slow dance.
As you say that, there is actually like a dance floor off to the side. Does Chuck try to dance?
I don't know who he'd invite to dance right now.
You can make a perception check and maybe you might see a lovely lady.
No, that's a good perception.
Yes.
Oh no,
Um,
we're gonna hear drunk Chuck flirting.
Drunk
There-
Chuck
Here we
flirt.
go. Let's
There is
go.
oh, we're gonna get Jessica Rabbit on this. You see this lovely lady of this near blood red hair with very soft features of facial features with a lovely dress. Off to the side, just kind of sipping wine to herself and a couple of her friends. Positioned herself to be open to the dance floor, as if to, in your mind, potentially invite.
If you'll excuse me, there seems to be a nice lady looking for a dance.
I suppose we'll get to see that slow romance occur. She kind of smiles and leans into the others.
Guess so.
Excuse me, miss.
Yes.
I would be remiss and would not be able to forgive myself if I did not approach and ask for a dance.
Roll me diplomacy.
I'm using my hero.
That was a nat
Nat
one.
one with the
Oh
13
my
though.
God.
I'm using my. Wait, no, it's a crit fail. I have a reroll with my crit
You
fails.
do.
I don't need to
Oh.
use my hero
Your
point.
real for crit fail, isn't that just a insult? Isn't that what it is?
No, he
I
has
have
the
an
thing where
idea
if
for
he
this.
crit fails, it's a feat that he has that if he crit fails, he has a courteous comeback.
Listen, may have had a little much to drink, but I know a fine wine when I find one.
Roll again.
25.
With that, she takes the glass away from her lips, puts it down on the table, crosses her hands over, and goes, well, you might not be the only one who has been drinking tonight. And that sounds lovely. I'm Jessica, as she stands up.
And I am Charles.
Nice to meet you, Charles. As you
All
guys
right,
start to
Can
slow
I roll
dance.
acrobatics or performance?
So this is what's going to happen because it's two tipsy people drunk
Can I?
dancing.
So
I'm
I
going to
looked
roll
up the
performance and you're
mechanics
going to
for
roll
this.
performance. And the closer we are to the same number, the better.
All right.
Okay, I actually looked up oh my goodness.
Okay.
Okay, never mind. 'cause
I
what
rolled
was
a
gonna say was
7.
gonna
So
make that
what were you
worse.
gonna say, Jack?
So I looked up there is mechanics for being drunk in Pathfinder. And it depends on what stage of drunk they are. There are 7 stages. Oh my god. 7 stages death. So I don't think go that far.
Wait,
but
is it clumsy? Should I put the clumsy condition on me?
Oh my
stage
God.
3 stage 3 drunk is clumsy. Clumsy and
Okay.
clumsy, flat-footed and stupefied.
I
All
don't
right,
think
so
we're going to get into combat, so I don't know if this is like a necessary thing in this moment. If you guys get into a bar fight, then we can start getting into tiers of drunkenness.
That's just
All right, I want you to roll to see if you match my performance.
Because I want the same modifiers, you go ahead and roll another performance. And I want to see with everything. Okay. It is
just double.
It's within 7 though. That's pretty close.
it is within 7.
All right.
So it's obvious to everyone else that y'all are tipsy dancing, but not to you.
But I have good acrobatics.
Okay, so with that, there's one moment where she goes like, my father, Mr. Bellevue, owns this place. And you guys like fall to the side and you like pivot, plant your foot, spin around, and you're able to get her back up. And you're like, whew, that was fun. You guys have this very drunkenly tipsy dance together on this dance floor in the middle of this French restaurant. And then as the music slows, what is your guys' reactions to Chuck doing this? Just getting drunk, walking up to a gorgeous woman, taking her to the dance floor and just dancing.
I think Kyoko's just enjoying the drink and
Azuka has If there is any food left on Chuck's plate after he stood up, Azuka's taken and is eating.
There is
like,
probably
isn't
like
even looking.
another half portion of something that you're able to just scarf.
Yeah.
Mintala's just looking on and like smiling and laughing a little bit at Chuck's ridiculousness.
And as the song comes to a slow and ends, you guys take a step apart and she bows to you and goes, "Thank you for a lovely time."
And thank you for the stepping.
You can step with me anytime. Boop. She kind of boops your nose.
He'll take off his hat, bow, and make his way back to the table.
She goes and sits down.
Like a dance, Azuka.
Finishing the conversation that nobody started.
Perfect.
I think that's a good way to end that scene. I don't know.
For sure. With that, the waiter comes out. "Thank you so much for joining us here today. I would like to the matter of the bill." As he brings out the check,
How much
hands
is
it,
the
sits it down in
damage?
front of Chuck.
What's the damage? Kyoko
Does
will.
Chuck say what the damage is?
Kyoko will grab it.
Chuck pulls out his business card and slides it on there and hands it to him.
There's no credit cards.
No, it's a business card. It's literally his ammo business card.
Do you want me to charge this entire meal to the company Ammo? The
Yes.
Los Angeles-based company that we have no way of getting any money from?
You'll
Kyoko
get
will
money.
take it
Just call
and
Percy.
look at it.
Oh, it's 80
Uh,
gold.
80.
And he's like patting
Okay.
the person's head, like, just
Kyoko
call
will
Percy.
take it and be like, "It's all right. I got it." And she hands the business card back to Chuck, or like puts it in his pocket or something, and then she'll take out of her pouch the correct amount. You said 80?
How much gold do we have left? Because I know Zuka's been like, yeah, Kyoko has money, but I don't know how much money we have.
We have a good amount.
Okay.
We have
What was it? we
26
originally
silver
got?
and 519 gold pieces.
Okay.
Oh, we're
Yeah,
fine.
good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
we at
with
least
that-
started with like 500, I thought. So yeah.
You
Yeah,
guys
we had like
really
600.
haven't you haven't really had a lot of things to spend it on. And every time you
No.
can, it's Chuck talks them into just IOUs. So
Well, in this case, it's not gonna work.
the farther away you get from Los Angeles, the less you can actually do that. So
Makes
you
sense.
guys,
After all this, Percy's gonna have to go on his own road trip to pay all the bills.
That's funny.
there is a little bit of a stumble with little drunken Chuck
Hmm.
going out into the streets towards the hotel. Does anything happen with Kyoko or any shenaniganery along the way?
I think, from my end, Kyoko's just trying to make sure she can get Chuck and Azuka back to the hotel safely.
There's definitely moments where, as Chuck is watching, there is that flicker of he's going to fall over in the street and get run over. He's going to do this. He's going to take a step, trip on his own shoelaces, fall over, and really hurt his head. And Kyoko has these moments of prediction of grabbing up if you would like to do any on your way over.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. I think she is any time where he would have fallen or slid or whatever, she tries to accommodate for it.
Perfect. Crossover, you get to the lobby of the Ritz-Carlton. Go inside. A wonderful concierge is in front of you for this very elegant and lavish hotel. Hello there, welcome in. How can I help you?
We just like to get a room or two.
2 rooms. Okay. Do you know, would you like to be Central Park facing or would you like to face more into the city?
Actually, like, Kyoko kind of turns back and looks to everybody. Does everyone want their own room?
I'm fine with it being one.
I'll sleep on the floor. Or the ceiling. Or over there.
We'll do 2 rooms.
I would very much prefer
so-
if you did not sleep in the lobby of the Ritz-Carlton. We are very much against that sort of thing.
It's fine, we won't let him.
Yeah.
That I appreciate.
I could probably buy the place.
And Kyoko just
I
said,
see you have spent some time at Le Belle Jaune. This is quite...
we did.
Appropriate.
And it was a very lovely night, but I think that some of us need some rest. 2 rooms will do.
2 rooms at 25 gold a night.
And she'll pay that.
Fantastic. Right this way.
You said 25 a night?
25 a night per room.
And she will follow.
Would anybody like to roll me a perception check? What are people feeling in this moment? Are you wary of what's around you? Are you enjoying the moment? Are you wrapped up in it? Where do you feel you would be?
Pretty relaxed, I think.
I think I'm looking around.
Kyoko's
Put the
looking around,
clumsy-
but she's focused on trying to make sure Chuck and Azuka get to their rooms. So whatever you think, if you think I should roll or not.
I would say you'd be more focused on them.
Okay.
Chuck is drunk, but he's looking around at everything because he's drunk.
I'm tipsy, and if I want to have Azuka be a lot like me when I'm tipsy, I'm just very hyper aware. So I think they are kind of looking around.
Okay.
We'll see the
Go ahead and roll
roll
for
for perception.
perception.
That's also how
16.
I am if I've stopped drinking.
Okay. Then
The
with
paranoia
that,
sets in.
you do see 2 people, Chuck, sitting over in the corner that when you guys walked in, both of their heads followed you. Listen to the conversation, and as you went upstairs. That's it.
They followed me?
Their heads followed you. They were sitting down having a conversation, and you guys walked in, and they just watched.
Oh.
Even if you made eye contact with them, they just kind of stared at you. Conversation
probably
happened about
would've
the rooms.
Because I'm drunk, I probably would have stared at them and pointed at them and been like, I don't know you. And kept going.
One of the elves would have just raised their hand and just went,
He probably would have waved back. And then went on his way.
You guys are taken up to 2 separate rooms, Central Park facing, just for the sense of decor. You go inside, large windows, nice beds, solid bathtubs, no kitchenette, nothing like that, not that fancy, but standards.
Okay. Kyoko will try to put Chuck in one room.
Just by himself. I'm just asking if you got 2 rooms and like Min and Chuck will be in one and then you
That's
and...
what I was thinking, but
Okay.
everyone can kind of decide.
Now
what
that
to do.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was thinking
Then-
bathroom situation. Might be better to have 2 in case both of you.
Then what we can say is that as the night starts to approach, the sun hits the horizon, the circus tent in the far distance starts to light up their torches as lights are starting to erupt around the city as the buildings start to glow, as the sleepless city just wakes up again. Anything you guys would like to say before your characters go to sleep?
Ooh, New York is the new Las Vegas.
I mean, have you been to
Nothing
New
I
York?
like
It
is-
is it's never dark. There are always people everywhere.
I don't think there's anything. I don't say anything, but I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kai, but I think Azuka's tipsy, but they're not like so far tipsy that they need help to get anywhere.
Yeah,
No.
I didn't get
so
that.
I think
Yeah.
so I think as Kyoko's setting Chuck in bed, he's gone over to their room, and Kyoko will walk in on Azuka kind of cross-legged on their bed, meditating, because they didn't really get to do that this leap today. So they're gonna just kind of be trying to center themselves on their bed for a bit.
We'll say with the rage and the tired nature of this entire day and how much you've been pushing yourself and what your body has gone through. Mid-meditation, mid-conversation for you. You drift off into sleep. As you fall back, the pillow moves itself. It's where you land right in the middle in a comfortable position. With that, Kyoko, are you going to curl up?
Yeah, Kyoko comes in, and I think she'll actually go into the bathroom and transform, and then she comes out as a fox.
Then as the camera follows Kyoko, as they hop onto the bed and curl up, the camera flies over to Mintala, staring at the window, looking at the path energy. And as the camera goes through the window and out into the city, over Central Park, up into the sky, as we get a sky view of New York City, as you guys have made it. Good job. We'll end today there.
Yay! I thought there was going to be a cliffhanger there. I was like, where
was-
is he
was
flying
represented to
to?
explode.
I mean, I
And then a
had
Titan
something that
kicks
Chuck might have said to Min in that moment, but
I thought you were passed out in a
I was
different
wondering.
room.
well, he simply was just gonna say
Min
before
and-
passing out, he was gonna say, "Min, I'll get him. One day I'll get my revenge."
Does Min say anything back?
I think he's just confused.
And with the confused look on Mintala's face, we fade to black.
All right.
Episode
that's
14.
great. Well, what an episode. I'm certain we'll have quite a lot of things to say in the after show. So if you want to check out our after show, you can support us over on our Patreon, where we have a whole bunch of other goodies up there as well, like character sheets are out already. We have some custom items and the guest character sheet from our previous guest, Moyen, who caused quite a ruckus. So if you'd like to check those things out, head on over there. And of course, we'd like to thank our supporter today, Mia Zilla. Thank you, Mia, for supporting today's episode by being a legend tier and above. And if you want to be in a legend tier and above and not only be a supporter for the episode, but get to play in a private GM'd game, you can head on over to our Patreon to do so. And of course, you can become a Twitch sub here and get access to our VODs in advance, as well as emotes. And if you're an Amazon Prime user, you could give us your Prime sub. It's, free. Otherwise, it goes to Jeff Bezos. And of course, you can become a member over on our YouTube channel and get access to some of those emotes as well. And whether you're a YouTube member, Twitch sub, or a Patreon supporter, you can get access to our private Discord, where I'm certain there's going to be some combos. And of course, there's lots of non-monetary ways to support us, like watching us live here on Twitch and making clips, which I saw quite a few. I'm curious to see which moments got clipped. And of course, you can watch us over on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, and follow us on Twitter and Facebook, as we usually have some goodies over there that you can like, share, retweet, and comment on. And last but not least, we do want to tank. We like to tank.
We like to take our time.
We like to take
the
your
fish
time.
tank.
Take the time to thank our sponsor, Roll20. Thank you so much, Roll20, for supporting us and being a sponsor for today's episode. Where, if you're curious how Roll20 works, if you want to play tabletop games with your friends remotely, it's very, very handy. They have all kinds of character sheets. You can make custom character sheets for a game. And then also it does a lot of the rolling for you. You can program it to do a whole bunch of stuff, which is pretty amazing. Not only just rolling dice. And we do have some merch. You can head on over to designbyhumans.com/shop/roll4it to get yourself some swag and represent Roll For It on the daily. And with that, we'll go around and have people say where you can find them at, as they not only are amazing RPers here, but they do lots of awesome stuff elsewhere. So we'll kick things off with the one and only Kai Bear, our GM. Where can people find you at when you are not bringing the cannoli man back into the show and
You
flirting
can-
with Tyler?
Nah, that's standard.
You can find me over on all the big T's of social media, Twitch, TikTok, and Twitter, over at Kai Bear, over on all those places. I stream fun stuff, do fun things, and if you're at Gen Con this August, I will be GMing a game for Kobold Press, as well as someone else who is here will be doing that same thing. So, thank you guys for being here.
All right. Next up, we've got Chuck Spadina, played by Apocalypse 12. Where can people find you at when you are not dancing the night drunkenly away?
Hopefully not dancing the night drunkenly away somewhere else. But maybe, hopefully, I don't know. Sounds like a fun time.
You're like,
I
"Wait,
actually miss school dances. Anyway, you can find me over on my
I
podcast
don't.
called Go My Favorite Sports Team. It's a place where we talk about sports. It's a sports podcast, but it's not designed for sports people. It's comedy based. It's with my friend who knows nothing about sports, aka Markiplier. But you can follow me on social media. Anywhere you can find me as Tyler Scheid or my @apocalypto_12.
Perfect. And we've got Mintala Lanlas. Where can we find you? Played by Bentham Plays. Where can people find you at when you are not... what were you doing today? I feel like just trying to just vibe.
chilling.
Yeah.
vibing.
When you're not chilling, what are you doing? I was like,
Having a
wait,
giant
what
feast,
did
seeing the
Mintala?
breath-
I feel like
Seeing the breath of New York City, having
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
feast.
no, he
I mean,
was-
come on, getting a
Let's
nice
chill.
Seeing the code.
Saving, I guess,
watching
saving
the-
Kyoko as well for pulling off the train.
Oh yeah, no, there was
Yeah,
the,
that's
was
true.
the part
Saving-
where
saving
everything
Kyoko's
came down
life.
to Mintala, and I completely flubbed the bag.
Look, I didn't want to
Me.
spotlight
I'm
that.
just gonna roll worse every time. Okay. Yeah, you can find me on on Twitch and on YouTube where I'm Manglepork. And soon you can find me on Wandering In, because we finished recording the secret project that I keep hinting about. So I'm gonna start dropping more actual hints about what it is as we go on. However, it's still gonna be like a month or two before it comes out because it's gotta all be edited. But it is very cool, and I'm very hyped to see it come out.
All right. And next up, we've got Azuka, played by Draconics. Where can people find you at when you are not trying to overcome your rage and then starving?
You can find me trying not to overcome my rage and starving online on Twitter at Draconics. That's DRAKONIQUES. I'm a TTRPG performer, writer, producer, all of that jazz. Anything TTRPG related, I am doing or will be doing in the near future. The only thing I will shout out is that every Friday, for the next 3 Fridays, I'm over on Dame playing RPG. In a campaign called Enemy of My Enemy, which is a Vampire the Masquerade Hunter the Reckoning crossover. It's a ton of fun. We had the Hunters and Vampires actually meet last episode, and now we're in an enclosed space together, and that can only go well, right? Right. I'm a player on that, but I'm also the project lead, so this is kind of like my baby, and I'm very excited and very proud of all the players because they absolutely brought it, and I'm so excited to see what they're gonna do next. But yeah, that's it. Maggie, where can people find you when you're not? I don't want to highlight you dying. When when you're not being very comforting to the person who did almost kill you.
Aw. Well, hopefully I'm not having to comfort anyone who's trying to kill me IRL. But hopefully I comfort other people. But you can find me at Margaret Crone in all the places. I do lots of things on the internet. If you want to see those things, follow me and you shall see them when I post them. I also make games and video games for a living. That's my main focus. And you can check that out at Ashes of Creation in all of the places. I will be on some shows soon. A bunch of stuff has finished recording or is getting close to being recorded, and you'll see some new stuff. So keep your eyes peeled on that. And with that, I'm going to wrap up today's episode, and we will see you next week for another one, because it's going to be spicy. We got to go get Namreld, and I think there's some occultists creeping on us, and I'm scared, okay? Yeah. So we'll see you later. We're going to go record an after show. Toodaloo.